Yes, battler.
Okay.
I
There
could
you
get
go.
you
We
a
should start
log.
doing that more
It would
often.
take me like 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Here, let me fucking. I gotta turn the thing.
It's raining.
There you go. I can hear the game now.
Wahoo!
Yeah. So, was this just after he like cried or whatever, and he was like
Yeah.
really sad?
Yeah,
Is
he
that
was
what
like,
happened last?
oh, I can't do anything. Oh,
Oh, I'm a virgin. Oh.
oh.
Even though Dr. Nanjo and the rest did all they could to heal him? Of course, there was very little that could be done on an island like this without medicine or proper facilities. However, Cannon was the only human ever to confront the culprit. If only he could give us some kind of clue. However, at the time they carried Cannon away, it was already too late.
My sincere apologies. Without proper facilities, there was nothing I could do about such a serious wound. No, that's perfectly understandable. Thank you for giving it your very best.
I gotta turn this shit on more, I can barely hear it. Okay.
It's only raining.
Yeah, but there will be
Gotcha.
music later.
Is
I don't
this
wanna
third
bump that
person?
shit.
I
No,
don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It shouldn't be. Dr. Nanjo's shirt had been sprayed by a violent spurt of blood, so it was easy to imagine the devotion with which he had tried to save Cannon's life, up until the last second. Jessica was crouched in the corridor, crying softly. She had probably been taking care of Cannon-kun until the moment of his death. George Aniki tried to approach her with words of comfort, but when Jessica pushed him away, he stopped trying to force her to talk and left her alone.
If only I hadn't let Karon-chan go alone. Oh.
Oh my god, everybody's grieving.
Oh.
Do not let that bother you. If you had been with him, you probably would have been attacked as well. He foolishly rushed on ahead and paid for his mistake.
Yeah, you're so involved in this. Like, you're just an actual psychopath. You have to be
How
involved.
can you say it like that? Kanon-kun spotted the culprit and bravely stood up to them. If only Kumasawa-san had gone with him, the culprit might have hesitated and chosen to run away.
Emotion-filled words that I never thought I'd hear coming from Jessica's mouth tumbled out. Kumasawa, looking truly sorry, could do nothing but hang her head. Jessica.
You shouldn't talk to her now. It's the same for me and you as well, right, Battler-kun?
Oh.
We don't know what's going on. It feels like our hearts are gonna split open.
There were tears in George Aniki's eyes again. Seeing Jessica break down crying probably brought back the pain of losing his parents. I'd done my crying all at once, so I didn't feel like crying anymore. However, I understood how great the pain in their hearts was.
It's okay, Jessica. You'll be able to meet Cannon again soon.
Who said you could speak?
Stop it!
That's
I
so
don't need you
weird.
trying to console me like that.
Beatrice will resurrect the dead and even love that has been lost. So you'll definitely be able to meet him soon. Then everyone will be able to live in peace.
So the one who killed Kanon-kun, is this Beatrice who supposedly gave you that... Oh, is this Beatrice who supposedly gave you that letter yesterday? Where is she? Where is she hiding? I'll find her and tear her apart! Tell me! You know who the culprit really is, don't you? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
What do you know and what are you hiding? Tell me,
Yes.
damn it! Beat up the
Lady,
child.
please, stop!
Beatrice exists!
Damn it, let go of me, Genji-san! Maria knows who the culprit is! And she's hiding their identity even though she knows! She must be telling them what we're doing, guiding them as they kill us! Jessica, be silent!
Jessica grabbed at Maria. Genji tried to stop her, but Jessica could not be calmed. The next thing I heard was the sound of Anatsuhi slapping Jessica's face. Dude, these guys love to beat on each
They
other.
really do.
This whole family. After that, only Jessica's sorrowful sobbing voice resounded through the hall.
Maria-chan, I know there's no way you're the culprit. Been with us since the beginning, and there is no time for you to communicate with any culprit. So, I want you to tell me something. This Beatrice who handed you the letter yesterday, who was she?
Although those words seemed kind, they clearly showed that George still had some remaining doubts about Maria.
Don't worry about what's happening on stream. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, it looks normal, so I don't know what's happening.
No, somebody's missing. It's me. I'm the one.
Oh,
who's
you're right.
missing.
It just happened. I was behind.
Okay. Sorry,
You
my
didn't
mic
actually
is
grab at her. Oh, wait, is it good? I'm sorry. Are we
good.
going still?
Keep going.
Okay, let's make it sure. However, he felt exactly the same way Jessica did. Aniki, I already asked her the same thing a second ago. Her answer was the same as before.
I want to hear it from Maria's mouth. Who is Beatrice?
Even if I told you, you wouldn't believe anyway.
What do you mean by that? Could it be the culprit someone we know well? And you're keeping silent because you're covering for them for some reason. Who gave you that letter?
I got it from Beatrice. I'll say it no matter how many times you ask. I got the letter from Beatrice. Giorgio Nissan, do you refuse to believe in Beatrice because she's not an opponent you can hit? You want to turn your feelings of helplessness into violence and beat someone up. So you won't be satisfied unless your opponent is a human you can hit.
Bro, what?
So even if I tell you the truth, you won't accept it. So it's pointless for me to tell you. You won't believe. But I'll keep on saying it. Because it's true. Beatrice exists. The door to the Golden Land will soon be opened. I'll go there. Beatrice promised. In that world, Mama is nice, Papa is with us and is also nice. I want to go there right away. Everyone is afraid of Beatrice, but that's only natural. So calm yourselves. Beatrice said so herself.
Calm yourselves.
By the time the typhoon has passed, I'll have ended everything, she said. Ouch.
Maria, I don't mind you being talkative, but let's leave it at that for now. I'll bet this is all a pretty happy situation for you, since you're always going on about how witches exist, but keep that to yourself for now. Don't try to force that on other people.
I know I've been creeped out by this girl for a while now. Okay, yeah. But there really is something wrong with her. Don't you think so too, Battler? Kenji-san? Kumasawa-san? What about you, Mom? Maria knows who the culprit is and she's hiding it! Okay, maybe she hasn't done anything directly, but she's definitely working with the criminal! That's right, she's a spy! We can't let her stay with us any longer! Maria-chan, you must realize there are times when indiscreet discussion is best avoided. If you keep adding oil to the fire, even I will get very angry.
And Natsuhi glared at Maria with frightening eyes. Maria was used to Aunt Rosa's loud style of scolding, but she apparently hadn't built up a resistance to Aunt Natsuhi's quiet sort of scolding. She shrugged and kept her mouth shut. A desolate feeling filled the room. It felt as though those things would just get more complicated if anyone spoke. How many people have already died? 6 people in Dad's group. After that, both Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi, Canon-kun, and Grandfather. There were a whole 18 people killed on this island, supposedly, and 10 of those people have been killed. That's more than half of us. And right now, there's absolutely no proof that the remaining 8 people will be safe.
Womp womp!
Everybody's gonna die.
Everybody gonna fucking die and stuff? the guns back out. At any rate, this is no time to quarrel. Now that we are certain the culprit can enter and leave the mansion at will and strike out of nowhere, we must give our undivided attention to surviving until tomorrow.
I agree strongly with Aunt Natsuhi. We can figure out who the culprit is at our leisure tonight. For now, though, we're better off finding a place to barricade ourselves in. As I said this, I pointed out the clock to everyone. It was already 8 at night. Guys, it's like 8 at night right now, oh my gosh. We had been receiving shocks over and over again since the early morning. Our bodies and minds were both completely tired out. There's still a long, long time until tomorrow. We needed to find some place to barricade ourselves in so we could rest our bodies and get even the smallest amount of relief.
Oh, I agree. Everyone is already pushing their mental and physical limits, myself included. I believe it would be wise to take that into account as we move forward.
That's right. There's a high probability that the enemy's got the equivalent of a master key.
Were Shannon, Kanan-kun, and Goda-san holding master keys?
Yes. They were supposed to have them on their person during work.
We didn't want to disturb the scene, so we didn't investigate that closely. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone stole a key from them.
In the first place, we know the culprit may have visited the servant room at some point to unlock the garden and shed shutter. It's conceivable that they had obtained a master key from there earlier on.
There were many servants serving the Ushiromiya family. Because of that, there were several master keys. Furthermore, every time one employee started or finished working, the keys were passed between servants.
I think that this might be third person.
Okay, well that time they didn't give us any kind of hints, but whatever you say, Mama.
Whatever you say, Mama.
Whatever you want, Mama.
Whatever you want, Mama.
Whoa, mama.
Yeah, I had just assumed because... Yeah?
No, just saying he did the line.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying because Battler probably wouldn't notice. Because this is the first time he's been back in a bit.
No.
Oh, wait, no, it says we.
What?
Yeah, see?
What the fuck is this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Never mind, keep going.
Well, didn't they... Well, I'm pretty sure because this what they're talking about right now is information they've gone over before.
I guess so, or... Proceed!
Okay.
And we had to acknowledge that this had probably gotten a bit sloppy at times in the past. Even if they borrowed a bundle of keys from the pockets of one of the murdered servants, is there any safe place that even those keys couldn't open?
Because of the nature of our job, we have been entrusted with keys to all the rooms. All of them in the mansion and in the guest house.
So in other words, no matter where we hole up and lock ourselves in, it'd just be pointless. Fine. Who cares about locking up? If you're gonna come, bring it on, damn it! I'll beat you at your own game!
The enemy won't approach us from the front. I don't know about the first 6, but if you look at what happened to my parents and Kanan-kun, and even grandfather, the enemy has only gone after isolated people. They don't have the power to assault all of us openly in a secure room.
That's right. It's just like Aniki says. And maybe Aunt Natsuhi's rifle can serve as a deterrent to stop them from attacking.
I hope that is so, but...
Maria, I know you want to say something, but keep it to yourself and stay quiet for a while.
Shut your ass.
Maria probably wanted to say something about how witches weren't afraid of things like guns. But if she were to say it out loud, the atmosphere around here would start to get pretty edgy. I had noticed and decided to put a stop to it.
Only now would it get edgy.
If I may, I do know of just one place that cannot be entered even with the 7 key rings.
Where is that?
That would be the Master's study.
I'm against this! I don't even want to think about going in Grandfather's creepy room.
How many keys can gain access to that room?
There are 2. I always have one on my person. The other was held by the Master himself, But just now, I found this on the corpse in the boiler room.
Genji-san took a handkerchief out of his pocket and opened it, showing us the burnt and filthy study key. Then he showed it alongside his own key, which he had once lent to Natsuhi.
Normally, it would have been proper to leave the master's key for the police. But because of the master's orders to protect the safety of the study, I borrowed it for the time being.
I see. Which means that Kinto-san's study is the only place where we can be safe.
It would appear that way. I don't even want to think about being shut up in that strange room all night. But it appears we must acknowledge that his room is safer than anywhere else right now.
Even though Grandfather locked himself up in that safe room, the culprit brought him out and killed him. We can't be certain that it's truly safe.
According to your theory, Grandfather cleverly found a way around the receipt trick and left the room of his own free will. So, if so, the room might be a good place to barricade ourselves in after all.
You're too optimistic, Aniki. However, at the same time, I thought he brought up a pretty interesting point. After all, this gives us a chance to question the enemy, the witch herself, about how the sealed door had been opened. If we assume the culprit used some technique to kidnap Grandfather from his study, they'd have to show us the same trick again if they wanted to assault us in the study. And that'd give us a chance to make the culprit prove how they did it right before our eyes. If she's really a witch, we'll be forcing her to use her little magic trick to open the door right in front of us. But that's probably impossible. If you spin the chessboard around, it's obvious the culprit is acting in a way that'll make us think they're a witch. If she really is a witch, all she's got to do is appear in front of us and wow us with a colorful display of magic.
There's number one!
Yeah. Since she's avoided doing that, everything must be the work of a fake witch who wants us to think she's real. Therefore, a culprit who used a technique other than magic to defeat the closed room couldn't open the door before our eyes. Is Grandfather's room big enough to stuff 8 people in?
Yes. There is a bed, a sofa, and blankets. So while it is not luxurious, it will be more than suitable for spending the night. There's also a sink, a bathroom, a refrigerator, and a liquor cabinet.
Woohoo! Liquor cabinet!
I call sleeping in the liquor cabinet.
Whoa! That's incredible! But isn't that weird? You're saying he built another house inside his house? It was pretty cramped for the last house of someone like our grandfather who bought a whole island and realized all of his dreams.
That's right. After some point in time, Father probably couldn't feel at peace in any other place, even inside the mansion. We always sneered about how he shut himself up in there, and this time, we're the ones who are gonna shut ourselves up.
Things happen.
Jessica-chan, it sounds like you'd rather go search for the culprit than stay shut up somewhere.
Of course. I don't think we'll be able to find them if we just start searching on our own. In the end, we can't do anything but wait.
The N?
Wow. Wow. That was an epic gamer author move.
Oh,
Let's roll that one
Cause-
back.
Let's roll that
Let's roll that one back.
N.
Wow.
No, because you know that, like, whatever word would have been used there in the original version, like, it would have been 2, like,
Yeah.
kanji syllables, so they had to split apart the TH and the EN.
Fire!
Because that's, like, the only way it could be coded.
Yeah.
I need the ESPN replay screen. Ba-ba-da-ba.
Oh, yeah.
Then it doesn't matter where we lay, does it? I'm not gonna run away or hide. Why don't we just take it easy in the parlor watching TV or something while we wait for this Beatrice-sama to appear? It's perfectly fine if she doesn't appear. There's no need for us to be the ones who expose the culprit. Well said. We shouldn't take needless risks before the police arrive.
Thank you, Dr. Nanjo. I think we should move to Father's study. True, we have no proof that it's safe since Father was taken out of there. However, I can't deny the possibility that, as Battler Kun reasoned, Grandfather left the study of his own accord and was attacked outside.
Wow, close room!
Wow. A while back, I proposed that strange theory as a stopgap measure. But just as Aunt Ava said, even though that trick would be possible, I couldn't explain what motive could have made Grandfather sneak out of his own study in such a troublesome way. Plus, Grandfather couldn't have even used that trick unless he knew that the receipt was wedged in the door. Dude, every time we do another one of these, something always feels off, and I'm like, what is it? And then I remember that I don't have the stream audio on, so I can't hear the music.
Dude, it's going hard right now.
I'm just tired of even trying to understand the receipt bullshit. I don't care at
Yeah,
this point.
it's kind of cray-cray.
Yeah, well, literally all it is that there was a piece of paper in the door that, like, let it be opened when it was locked, and they're saying that if Kinzo was able to escape his room, he had to know that it was there.
Yeah, see, because I hear that, and I keep thinking of, like, the old thing of whether you want to tell someone or not was in your room when you were gone. Like, you wedge it in the, like, joint part of the door. And if you come back and it's on the floor, that means someone opened the door before you got there.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of that, because that's the only thing I know about,
well,
like, a door receipt trick.
It's both at the same time, because if you put it, like, over the wedge, it'll keep it from locking, but then when you open it, it'll fall, so it does both at the same time, you know?
Okay.
Because that's how Ava knew that somebody had opened it, was because it fell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I was confused. I was like, so wait, but because they keep talking, they switch back and forth between talking about the latch and then talking about it falling. So okay.
Well, it's also weird because, like, even if he didn't know that the piece of paper was there, what if he just, like, tried to open his door coincidentally, and then it just, like, you know, there's other things that could have happened, but they're acting like it's one or the other.
It literally just could have been like they heard them rumbling around outside, and then he fucking double checked the door, like.
Yeah, right. Ava hadn't pointed out that last part, but it's clear how absurd the theory was. So does that mean the sealed door formed a closed room just as Aunt Ava claimed? Is it an undeniable fact that Aunt Natsuhi was the culprit? If Aunt Ava were here now, she'd probably make that claim openly and blow my strange theory away. But anyway, I had to admit that a room with both a bed and a toilet that all 8 people could be shut up in, and with only 2 keys, both of which were gathered here, had to be the safest place in the mansion right now. At the very least, I figured this would be better than just staying shut up in the parlor and hoping nothing would go wrong. Dude, maybe I shouldn't have eaten hot chip before the stream also. I'm sorry, chat. My mouth is very dry.
First break we get, I'm making another margarita. So you know, it's happening.
We're in this for the long haul.
It's happening.
We've been safe only because we've been shut up in the parlor? What if leaving that room and moving to an unexplored location is actually more dangerous? It's useless. It's useless. It's all useless. My flimsy head is about to break out in a fever. If I keep spinning the chessboard around, right and wrong will keep switching places over and over, and I won't be able to believe anything. When it seems like the culprit is one of the 18, I want to believe Beatrice. And once I do start believing in Beatrice, I start wanting to find the culprit among the 18.
Well,
He's
do you
a
want me to run
contrarian.
Huh?
I could, because he said it. I could run and take a shot. I'll go get the bottle.
Oh, Shane,
real.
if you're drinking margaritas, please don't take shots. You're gonna go cray-cray.
Whatever you say, Mom.
Yeah. If that keeps spinning around forever, in the end, my thoughts won't have taken one step from where they started.
No, but I believe a drink of the margarita would go hard, though. Let's take a sip.
Maybe.
How far back in the past was it that Kyrie-san taught me about chessboard thinking?
Oh my god.
Yes! Get that margarita, Shane!
That concept of examining the situation by spinning it around and thinking from the enemy's side. I seem to remember being so interested by it back then, I used it to guide all my thinking. By the way, Kyrie-san was Dad's co-worker back then. I never dreamed that she'd someday be added to our family.
Damn. Oh.
Didn't Kyrie-san tell me something once? I get the feeling she once said that while this chessboard thinking was one way to look at things, it certainly wasn't all powerful. And it wouldn't be good to rely on it too much.
Chessboard thinking is my own interpretation of something called game theory, which I watched on YouTube.
Dun, dun.
read about it in the book long ago. It's a very
Tyler starts
interesting
crying
subject.
about MatPat.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of MatPat? So you should tackle it yourself when you get into college, Battler-kun.
I really want to try it. If I could study and perfect my chessboard thinking, it'd be fun to be able to read into any opponent's moves, wouldn't it?
But you can't believe in it blindly. Game theory is a very deep and complicated subject. Chessboard thinking is just my interpretation and that skims the surface of game theory. In order to thoroughly read your opponent's moves like you're imagining, you need to study your opponent. Additionally, while chessboard theory is convenient and practical, it isn't perfect. It has many weak points despite its convenience.
Oh, weak points?
Yes, chessboard thinking is founded upon game theory. When you thoroughly investigate game theory, it boils down to math. Do you know what the weak point of math is? It's noise. It's fucking stupid. Hate math.
In math, when you write 1 + 1 = 2, the process that will always result in 1 + 1 = 2, no matter. Oh, I get what he's talking about. He's
Hello?
talking about the what?
No, go ahead.
What, dude?
No, go ahead.
What happened? I'm so confused. I need to know.
No, you were like, 1 + 1 = 2. And what? And 1 + 1 = 2.
That's literally what he says.
Okay.
Dude, I hate
No,
you, man.
I
You're such a
love-
bully.
No, I'm sorry,
Literally
Remy.
reading the words on the screen
That's
exactly
why
how
I
you
was
want
like,
me to.
That's why I was like, keep going.
Bruh.
I muted the stream music and I'm playing the Goosebumps theme in the background.
That's
now.
so real.
Beware, you're in for a
For a
scare.
scare.
When you write 1 + 1 = 2, that process will always result in 1 + 1 = 2, no matter how many billions of years pass. Nothing more, nothing less.
Hi, Adam.
That's because there's absolutely no noise mixed in. But for example, unlike math, the Japanese language has noise mixed in. Kanji are a good example. Old kanji and new kanji are slightly different, which represents an introduction of noise created by the changes between time periods. Isn't history the same? There are dozens of policies that seem foolish in the modern era, but were meaningful at some point in the past.
Chessboard.
Because the rules of chess are fixed, when a pair of experts are discussing one particular layout, it's possible they could reach the same conclusion whether they're from 100 years in the past or 100 in the future. However, if the rules of chess had gone through massive changes over time, it's possible that a discussion about the same layout would have changed as well.
That's right. Events in the world of humans are normally full of noise. Aren't human emotions that way? Even if the exact same thing occurs more than once, there's no guarantee that humans will always act in a predictable fashion. The moment we try to use a math-based theory to predict someone's actions, we must be aware that our theory has built-in weaknesses and limits. Simply put, chessboard thinking is extremely weak against noise and fickleness, as well as mistakes or incorrect knowledge.
That's right. Kyrie-san definitely said that. Chess has always been a game where both sides play by the same rules and fight with the same conditions for victory. That's why it's possible for both sides to predict the other's moves. It's possible to read your opponent because you can always suppose they'll make the best moves they can find. But what if your opponent is fickle or a bit tired, and makes a move that can hardly be called the best? Or what if this game actually has a special rule? Some unknown thing that only the enemy knows about and can use? In fact, what if the opponent actually has some goal other than victory?
Oh, I clicked out of the game back. Okay.
Think from your enemy's perspective. That's the basis of chessboard thinking. Which means, if you misread your enemy, the answer you draw from this process will be complete rubbish. Useless. So far, I've used chessboard theory to guess several vague bits of information about the culprit hiding behind this case, or so I think. However, I don't know anything about the culprit. Am I just playing around in a labyrinth of thought?
Labyrinth of thoughts. Okay.
If Kyrie-san were here at a time like this... Sorry, bro, I couldn't bring
No,
myself
you're
to
good.
laugh.
No, you're good. It was funnier.
I can't fake laugh, chat. I just hope I can't do it. You know,
No, it was
that's not
funnier
the kind
that
of
way.
person I am.
It's funnier.
She'd probably be able to notice something with their much, much sharper thinking ability.
Oh, back to Rain.
Until the very last moment, Jessica resisted moving into Grandfather's study. But in the end, Natsuhi persisted, and we decided to move there. Everyone was completely wrapped up in paranoia by now. Kumasawa-san had prepared dinner at one point, but during the time we were discussing the deaths of George Oniki's parents, both the kitchen and the parlor had been left empty.
Is there a reason that it's a patriarchal family, but the women are always the most aggressive?
I mean, that's just how cutthroat it is.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I
gotta
feel like
fight.
I feel like the patriarchal aspect of their family might not even have anything to do with that. You know, I think that
True.
they all kind of seem like the kind of people who are just like very cutthroat and very selfish. At least the older generation.
Yeah.
Like because they were all fucking arguing about the inheritance, regardless. Because Ava, being a woman, still like found a way to like get her chance at it. You know. So I think they're all just fucking selfish, and that's a trait that they share.
Hee hee hee.
I read this.
Oh.
You scrolled up. Because of that, we were unable to even touch the food that Kumasawa-san had taken the trouble to make for us.
Oh.
The manner in which the first 6 were killed was still unknown, but it certainly could have been poison. Certainly, that would allow even a single person to carry out the murder of 6 large adults. How'd he poison bro in the shower?
No,
Furthermore,
only the
this
first
Through
one.
his fucking forehead?
No,
Was
only
it
the
6
first
of them?
one.
I thought
yeah,
it was
6
like
of them died in the shed, remember?
Dude, there's too many characters to be honest.
There-
I already forgot some of them.
Wow.
Furthermore, this idea made it easy to imagine there only being a single culprit, one who'd be afraid of Natsuhi's rifle. And this was very good for our emotional stability. But the fatigue and hunger were even harsher than we'd imagined. Then Kumasawa-san made a proposal, and we all went together to the kitchen. There we gathered some canned food and other things that'd be hard to poison to take in with us. All of Kumasawa-san's effort to reward us with just a little dinner on this savage day regrettably came to nothing. The food piled up on the serving cart looked just a little sad. We all started climbing the stairs. And Natsuhi, who was in the lead, warily stared into the darkness with both eyes and the barrel of a gun. Once we dragged ourselves up to the 3rd floor, just as Natsuhi had warned us of beforehand. There was a mixture of chemical smell and a sickly sweet aroma, a stench hanging in the air that felt like it was eating into our heads. I see. This kind of stench would probably give you a headache if you were shut in with it for a whole night. I know it's a little late, but I'm with Jessica. I vote against going into Grandfather's study. Feels like the stench was floating out from this magnificent door. It was the door to the forbidden study, which should defend against anyone who would enter. While Genji-san unlocked the door, Maria stared at the door and the doorknob with great interest.
Incredible door.
It looks old and strict, and like it'd stop any jokes cold. A perfect door for Grandfather's study. The stench of the
power to-
goon cave.
That's what I was thinking, dude.
The power to ward off spiritual menaces is strong here. Beatrice probably couldn't open this door.
Oh? What does that mean? Maria pointed at the doorknob. Scorpion crest. No. A design like a magic circle arranged around a scorpion was inscribed there. That design. That's right. Isn't it just like those keychain charms Maria gave Jessica and me the other day?
The 5th magic circle of Mars is a strong word against magic. Additionally, this magic circle is very diligently constructed and is full of power. Such a magic circle can be quite troublesome to beings of magic like Beatrice.
Isn't that comforting? Are you saying we can escape even Beatrice's clutches in this room? Our little witch here sure is reliable.
And how did Beatrice get grandfather out?
Just as valid reason. Beatrice can't go inside. However, she has both magic and familiars. Using them, she might have been able to get grandfather to leave the study of his own accord.
Ah, I've read about that in manga. I've seen a bunch of scenes where vampires were frightened of crosses, so they couldn't get close. Their familiars were just fine, so they made their familiars attack.
The scorpion keychain charms I gave you yesterday also had the 5th magic circle of Mars on them. The power dwelling within them was weak, but they should be enough to protect you until we leave the island. Although it sounds like you've lost yours, right?
Scorpion keychain charms? Yeah, the charm I gave you yesterday was something I got from Maria. I heard it would repel magic if you put it on your doorknob, and at the time, I thought maybe it'd be better if you had it. Is that so? I thought it was an odd thing for you to be carrying around.
Aunt Natsuhi put that on her doorknob?
Yes. Last night, after hearing about it from Jessica, I hung it from the doorknob on the inside of my door.
Then Aunt Natsuhi, you're really fortunate. If you did that, Beatrice probably couldn't even lay a finger on you yesterday. I think Beatrice must have been really annoyed.
Beatrice? Annoyed? Couldn't lay one finger.
Oh, third person narrator, your turn!
Oh, I do. Okay.
After years!
After years of isolation, Natsuhi thought back on that eerie scribble she'd seen that morning, as though someone had been tearing at the outside of a door with blood-soaked hands, and gasped in surprise. Could it be that this witch who called herself Beatrice tried to enter through the door to Natsuhi's own room, but the magic-repelling charm had been hanging from the inside, so she couldn't break through the door. So she was annoyed. So she scratched at it?
Wow! Thanks, third person narrator.
You're welcome.
Go back in your hole now. Quit
Ah!
it. Quit it. Don't talk about that. Witches don't exist. The culprit does. And they're a human just like us. If you need proof, why don't we dice her up and see if her blood's red? Damn it. Damn it. How could you do that to Canon-kun? Oh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is it?
I don't know.
I think it's Battler still. I think.
Wait, no, it says Kenzo.
Is it?
It's third person.
You're right,
Get
you're
it, then
right.
get out of your hole.
Oh, it's me? Okay.
Yeah.
Click. Genji unlocked the door. 8 people entered Kinzo's study. Oh, that's right. He calls him grandfather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Context clues.
Oh god,
Now,
he has another
yeah.
fucking portrait.
Okay.
Oh god,
Yeah, he
she's
has a-
gonna come straight out that bitch.
Wow.
She gonna come straight out that bitch.
That's gonna be
I
cool.
love that he has a second smaller one in his room, so just he can
Yeah,
goon at
dude.
it. He could
He has
just
to
he could
think
just
of her.
Anyway,
Oh,
Battler.
Well, y'all were yapping, so
I'm just saying, she's coming straight out of that portrait, bro.
Maybe.
She,
grandfather's study. I'd heard rumors about it beforehand, so I wasn't that shocked. He had done nothing more than fortify it thoroughly with his occult hobbies. If grandfather's hobby had been chasing after pop idols, these walls might be buried underneath idol posters. Even if I didn't understand it, I did realize that this room was a bundle of all his pastimes. Even so, I couldn't help but remain dumbfounded by the smell of his creepy medicine and the sweet stench that seemed to melt my head.
Why is it a stench? Why is it a sweet stench?
I don't know.
I'm scared.
The stench of a fresh jelking session.
Whoa! I don't like the word fresh.
It's weird.
Yeah, smells like old man sweat and petroleum jelly.
When the door closed, it automatically made a clunk. I see. This is the auto lock that's activated whenever the door is closed. And there were only 2 keys that could open this door from the outside, both of which were in this room. In other words, it had become a closed room. The shutter, the receipt, the chain, and now the auto lock. This 4th door had the most magnificent lock yet, and this was doubtlessly a closed room.
George has a... George... Wait, no, this is the 80s. They don't have phones. That's the killer! That's the killer! Oh, God!
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Stay away from the Dippin' Out!
Just to make absolutely sure that the room was secure, we checked all over for ways in or out. The window was tightly locked. That should have been enough, but just in case, we tried knocking all over the walls. After all, we had talked about there being a hidden door in this room, but we couldn't find anything suspicious. Grandfather's study was very large. Even though we called it a study, it wasn't really a single room. It could be divided up into 4 basic sections. A study section, a bedroom section, a toilet/bathroom section, and a section for cooking that had a sink. I see. Have enough in it to live in. Now I see how Grandfather could live his whole life in this room without ever leaving. It seemed Grandfather wasn't in the habit of watching TV, because there was no television or even a radio in this room. We can't do anything except pass the time listening to the sounds of the rain until tomorrow morning. Dr. Nonjo looked closely at the chessboard that sat on the table in front of the sofa and muttered. It was apparently the partly finished chess match he'd been playing with Grandfather until yesterday. The black had the white cornered pretty well, and it looked like a checkmate that could be reached within a few hours, the last part of the end game.
A few moves.
You know what, dude? I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
You know what? No.
No, it's okay.
I
it's
quit.
Okay.
I don't need this.
Wait,
I don't need this.
Come back!
I'm gonna find an agency that will treat me with respect.
Back, I'm sorry.
And you know what? You really could have you could have briefed me. You know?
Who do you think? What, you think you voiced Yamcha? You think you could just leave like that, huh?
We could have scheduled something. We could have done a table read, but you just expect me to come in here completely dry and just perform?
No,
Unbelievable.
Don't come dry, come wet.
Somebody call Johnny Young Bosch or one of the other douchebags. We gotta replace somebody.
Now you're all sellouts.
I was a sellout from the beginning.
Hold on. Would you stay for $1,000 more?
I'm getting money?
If you stay, I won't tell them about what happened in the hotel at the convention.
Oh my god, no.
Holy shit.
Even though checkmate had almost been reached.
Oh my god, he's here!
The endgame had been rushed. And in the end was never completed.
Kinjo-san, it seems we weren't able to see this match through after all.
Womp womp.
Dr. Namjo.
I was Kinzo-san's friend for a long time, but I never knew about more than half of him. I believe 2 Kinzos existed, a wise one and one trapped by some madness. I never understood anything about him.
Especially when it came to Beatrice-sama. It would seem like his personality changed. He became into a gooner.
In the direction of Kumasawa-san's upward gaze, a portrait of Beatrice could be seen. It wasn't massive like the one hanging in the entrance hall, but small, made for this room. Grandfather probably spent every day in this room and so much of his time talking to the witch in that portrait.
Okay.
Who was Beatrice to Grandfather in the first place? Right now, you couldn't just explain it away by saying it was a story by the parents to frighten children away from wandering into the forest. While eating the canned food we'd brought from the kitchen, we talked together about who Beatrice was. Whether the culprit was Beatrice herself or someone pretending to be her, whether they were a witch or a human, that was beside the point. The woman in this portrait was strongly related to the roots and background of the case. You couldn't talk about this case without talking about her.
That's right. Mom, you picked up the culprit's letter in Aunt Ava's room, right? Yes. I still haven't opened it. Let's give it a try.
And Natsuhi took out that western envelope. Genji-san pulled a paper knife out of a drawer in the study desk and handed it to her. While watching her open it, George Aniki grimaced slightly. After all, it was a letter left at the site where his parents had been murdered. There was a good chance its contents would say something unbearable to Aniki. Natsuhi also seemed to realize that, so she glanced over the contents first without reading it aloud. We were a little frightened that she might grimace after reading something shocking, but she just frowned unhappily.
What does it say? There
Your
is
mom gay.
one unpleasant sentence.
See, it says your mom gay! Natsuhi, after deciding that the contents could be shown to the children, set it openly on the table. Everyone stared at it at the same time.
Praise my name. What the hell? That's annoying.
It's probably Beatrice declaring herself the victor. Damn it.
I bet you were hoping another weird magic circle would show up.
It wasn't a magic circle, but my expectations haven't been betrayed.
What could it mean? I wonder if she wants us to toot her own existence.
Tout.
Tout.
Yeah.
Fuck. Shut up.
You went on tooting.
Shut up.
Any
You want to
tutors?
toot your own existence?
Any tutors in chat? See, now you know how it feels. A lesson in empathy.
What do you mean? That seems unreasonable. With this letter, we know now that the author's last... Oh my god! Get it together! With this letter, we now know that the author of last night's letter is the culprit. God damn. I think the identical envelope is more significant than what is written here.
Without a doubt, this is the type of envelope and sealing wax that the master used.
Oh, I don't know what's going on anymore. This is the first time I've seen anything like this since I started working for the Ushinomiya family.
Going by last night's letter, Beatrice is claiming to be Grandfather's oldest confidant. Grandfather often said the same thing in the past, right? I spoke to Genji-san and Kumasawa-san, who nodded together. Guess that means you two know more about her than anyone except Grandfather. Could you tell us?
For a long time, I've purposefully avoided this topic. But now that it has come to this, I can no longer do so. Genji, tell us everything you know.
Or else I'm gonna fucking shoot you!
Brah, brah, brah.
Genji-san didn't answer. Did he remain silent despite his knowledge? Or did he know nothing at all? Still, I had a good guess. The ghost story of the witch Beatrice had been long deified among the servants. I get it, like a deity. See, chat, we learn new words every day on here.
Wahoo!
He had probably been very close to Grandfather in his occult hobbies. So there was a good chance that he'd been indoctrinated with even weirder things, and had increasingly come to deify the witch. As Grandfather's most trusted servant, who had sworn loyalty to him, he might be the most influenced by the illusion of the witch that Grandfather had created. So there was only one reason for Genji-san to remain silent. He could speak, but it would definitely cause a backlash. So it was better if he kept his mouth shut, and it wasn't like we'd believe him anyway. Something along those lines. A short while ago, Maria had been more than willing to speak bluntly and unrestrainedly, and that had earned her a scuffle with Jessica. It was natural for Genji-san to keep his silence.
Aw, me.
Aw, fuck.
Was she Father's concubine?
That's crazy. His concubine? That could be possible.
Is love out.
For ordinary people, polygamy isn't only viewed negatively from a moral perspective. It's also an unmaintainable financial situation.
Unless you're a rapper.
But that isn't the case for the very rich.
Exactly.
It's possible for them to have another lover in addition to their real wife. We can't deny the possibility that grandfather had another woman in his life besides grandmother. Is the grandmother even like a named character?
I don't think so,
I
no.
don't think so yet. No.
Yeah, she ain't important, bro.
Maybe. When grandmother was alive, I hear she was pretty sure of it. She thought he was cheating on her. I always thought she meant grandfather's imaginary witch.
Now this is getting really interesting.
The tea.
You told me, didn't you, Genji-san? You said Beatrice had been working for grandfather since before the mansion was finished.
I heard that the construction of the mansion was completed in Showa 27, 1952. Thank you for saying that, Nazi.
That'd mean that this person called Beatrice was in a relationship with grandfather since at least 30 years ago.
Could that concubine of 30 years ago, or maybe a relative or hidden child with that person, hold some kind of grudge and be planning revenge? I see. This is starting to sound just like your standard Western Mansion mystery.
It's a filthy topic, but the easiest line of reasoning to accept. What do you think, Genji?
The master surely had feelings of deep love for her. There can be no mistake that he cared for her more than his late wife.
Damn.
Who is this person called Beatrice? And what's she doing now?
Trying to kill us all.
Praise her
I
goddamn
got that.
name.
And I think we're all quite aware that that's been happening the whole time. And I've heard that she passed away before the mansion was completed.
She's already dead?
Yes. The master was deeply stricken by grief at her loss, and he devoted himself to the art of black magic as a means to revive her. The master loved Beatrice somewhat from the bottom of his heart. It was that madness which drove him to do all that you see here.
Yeah, like that.
Sometimes it seems as if his spirit still echoes in this room, calling for her.
I was really hoping... Oh, yeah! You did it!
So I turned it back off right away.
That's so funny.
Fire.
As Genji-san said this, he spread his arms, as though asking us to look at this room filled with the signs of grandfather's madness.
Chandelier, the madness of doll.
The chandelier.
The chandelier. Okay, music. Hear this
We
shit?
were all at a loss for words.
Oh.
Normally, black magic seems like it'd just be creepy, and it's really hard to imagine why someone might be so enraptured by it.
What are George and Shannon going on a mini golf date? What is this music?
Yeah. I gotta water up,
Oh, is
chest.
this-
Water up.
Is
What?
this third person?
No.
I don't
Wait,
think so.
wait.
Is it?
Yet, wait.
Dude.
It says Kinzo, which wouldn't be said by Battler, so...
That's a... Okay,
I
I'm
guess
gonna
so.
assume.
Okay, water up, brother.
Since Kinzo was just an eccentric, who nobody had... who had restored the Shiromiya family amidst his madness, nobody had tried to understand him.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, alright.
See, he calls him Kinzo sometimes.
It's so weird.
The only thing on grandfather's mind had been the loss of a beloved woman, and his inescapable sorrow. Earlier, this room had seemed creepy, but in an instant, it had changed into something we could understand completely. The creepy books, the magic circles, the medicine, all of it. It all existed simply because he wanted to revive the face of a single woman who had left this world over 30 years ago.
The master only told me about Beatrice's summer story once, when he was very drunk, although I have forgotten the details. It was a deep, deep love, enough to make a woman like me jealous.
When Kinjo-san succeeded the headship of the Ushinomiya family, his marriage to his late wife had already been decided by the few surviving family elders.
So,
Game, please. Okay.
he was forced into a marriage with some woman who would benefit the Ashiromiya family.
That is correct. Kinzo-shan was installed as the head who would revive the family, and had to bear the entirety of that heavy responsibility. I do not pretend to know the details of when or where Kinzo-san first met her.
Guess it'd be rude to say any more than that.
Since when do you care?
That was when Grandfather truly fell in love for the first time. Just how deep was his affection for her? That was easy to see just by looking around us. This room was covered with piles upon piles of things having to do with black magic. And Grandfather spent every day shut in here, immersed in his research and isolated from the outside world, never regretting 1 minute of it. You couldn't help but recognize the depths of Grandfather's love for Beatrice.
I had it all wrong, Genji-san.
What do you mean by that?
I've always thought that maybe you servants believed blindly in the witch because you were influenced by Grandfather's creepy black magic hobby. But that's not how it was, right?
By acting as though Beatrice's soul had at least been restored. Or, yeah, oh no, see, that time I gaslit myself. I thought I read it wrong.
No, don't do that.
And existed inside this mansion. Oh,
You got it.
get real, dude.
I believe.
Lock in.
They might have hoped to soothe Grandfather's heart. With closed eyes and the expression of one remembering something from the distant past, Genji had broken his long silence. In making that confession, he probably felt like he was betraying his one and only master in the most serious way, even though that person was already dead. Beatrice has revived as a witch, and she's in the mansion even now. Genji had said it, had believed it, and had made people believe it. And would take that with him to the grave. This might have been the last service he could offer up to his master. The legend of the witch, the mysterious tale of Rokkenjima that was still whispered of amongst the servants. Its true nature was a sad lie. No, it was an act of kindness towards Grandfather, who had lost the person he loved above all else.
I remember denying the witch's existence in front of Father on multiple occasions. Now I finally understand how much that must have wounded him.
Right now, I can understand very well. If I thought I could revive Shannon using black magic, I'd immediately become the next owner of this room and start researching.
Damn. Aniki. Another strand of tears dripped from George's eyes. Maybe his tears were infectious. Tears rose to Jessica's eyes too, and she sniffled.
Oh, hey! Beatrice has said it. Very soon she will be able to revive people. You'll be able to meet them, she said.
Shut up!
Very soon the door to the Golden Land will be opened. In the promised land that glitters gold, the souls of all the dead will be resurrected, along with the love that has been lost. Then I will sleep in a world of peacefulness for all time. Did she say that? The Beatrice who gave you the letter?
You don't believe, do you?
If only Grandfather were here. I'm sure he'd be happy. I'm sure he'd be jumping for joy now that Beatrice is about to be revived. In that case, I believe. If Grandfather gave up half of his life for this research, trying to resurrect the soul of the woman he loved and spending the rest of his life believing, I'll believe too.
Uh-oh.
Paddler.
When you love a single woman for so long, the people around you can catch on to it, and it becomes the truth. Maybe you could say they're just being polite for the sake of your feelings, but right here now, I'd like to call that magic.
It isn't just being polite. It really is magic. She's a witch. Looks like nobody can see Beatrice after all.
Some time passed as we listened to the sound of the rain. we considered what kind of love and madness must have possessed the owner of this room as he spent half of his life here.
Oh man, that was really
Just when did she show up? Like, be so honest.
If you ask me as a woman, then while I'd like to be understanding of Father's feelings of true love, it did leave Mother in an awkward position. I agree. Cheating is cheating. No way to make it pretty.
Yeah, that's right. Gotta feel sorry for grandmother.
So, have there been any rumors about a child between Beatrice and grandfather?
The keyword Beatrice has been hidden in every corner of this case. So it's natural to suspect some relatives of hers.
No, I've not heard of anything like that.
If there was one, a memento of his most beloved person, he surely would have given them all of his affection. Since he ended up immersing himself in black magic instead, maybe we should assume that there was no such child.
Come to think of it, that reminds me of a rumor I heard. You know it, right? That story about how grandfather heavily supported an orphanage called the Fukuin House? Enough of that! That is nothing more than slander which would desecrate Father.
Tell us, Aunt Natsuhi. I think even you'd agree that this is no time to hide things from each other.
It's a worthless story. Father made massive donations to an orphanage and had the orphans employed as servants at the head family to give them some on-the-job experience. The story in question is simply some drivel spread by fools who claim that Father was using those orphans for some filthy hobby. For a while... Oh, sorry. Wrong character. For a while, some guys even said he was collecting human sacrifices for his black magic. And he really is doing weird experiments and ceremonies in this room all the time, so I half believed it myself.
And these servants who came from the Fukuin house are...
There are several of them, but Shannon and Cannon were the two scheduled during the family conference shift.
To resurrect Beatrice, he brought in servants from an orphanage as human sacrifices?
After all, everyone grandfather selected as a servant was young, about the same age as Shannon or Cannon-kun. I'm sure it was because grandfather had some bizarre hobby. Jessica! Mind your words!
When Aunt Natsuki scolded her, the atmosphere instantly went sour and everyone fell quiet. However, something was tugging at the back of my mind. Sacrifices. Sacrifices. Human sacrifices brought over from an orphanage. What is it? Freaky words like sacrifices don't pop up often. And yet, I've seen or heard that word recently. Some part of my memory is tugging at me. Hey, Beatrice, what do you know? I had arrived in front of the portrait of Beatrice. It wasn't as massive as the one in the entrance hall, but that portrait, which must have been drawn by some famous painter, was still just as intimidating in this smaller size. Below it, just like in the entrance hall, was the epitaph that supposedly hinted at the location of the hidden gold. Ah. Sacrifices. Here.
What the hell, Battler? You're creeping me out.
6 sacrifices. Ah. Ah!
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know if he was screaming or being like, oh!
No. I think he was screaming.
He's so scared, I think. I think he realized that. Is this the part where they finally realize they're all gonna die?
I read it as like Jeff Goldblum, like,
Oh. Yeah, he'll be like, Both of my eyes were as wide as plates. Everything's been predicted right there from the very beginning!
He awooged.
Everyone crowded around, and the same expression of shock rose to all of our faces. That's right. It's right there in the epitaph. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. Ah, there's no doubt. 6 people died in the beginning! And even on the shutter where the magic circle was drawn, No, where the Hebrew was written. It mentioned the offering of sacrifices.
I've been saying that from the beginning.
That's right, Maria said it right at the start. Right after we found the 6 bodies, when Maria was in the parlor watching TV, she said it.
The culprit isn't human. It's just the sacrifices chosen by the key.
This has nothing to do with the location of the hidden gold. It's the instructions for a resurrection ceremony using black magic or something. After all, this epitaph requires a large number of deaths.
It sure does. Even reading through it quickly, there'd be 6 plus 2 plus 5, 13 people who must die.
How many people are normally on this island?
It changes depending on the shifts for the servants, but there's Father, my husband, Jessica, and me, and 2 or 3 servants. Today and yesterday, there were 5 of them, but there aren't normally that many.
Which means that normally, there wouldn't be enough sacrifices to carry out this ceremony. No, wait. There's that rumor that Grandfather was collecting servants from an orphanage to be used as sacrifices in some creepy ceremony.
So what does this mean? He increased the number of servants to increase the number of sacrifices, and waited for the annual family conference when even more people would gather? Is it now the only time of the year the ceremony could be held?
When Jessica screamed this, Maria broke out in that creepy laugh, looking truly pleased.
Haven't you ever heard of people making bets to test their fate?
Like throwing a sandal and saying that if it lands right side up, tomorrow will be sunny. Or saying that tomorrow will be a good day if a coin lands heads up. There are many little superstitions like that. Sometimes when your luck is down and you get bored, and you roll the dice and get 3 6s, you want to believe it's a portent of some miracle. When flipping a sandal, you have at worst a 50% chance. Even if you get it right side up, it's not worth much. But if you carelessly roll 3 dice and they all come up 6, you might think that's a small miracle.
Magic works the same way. You must pray earnestly for an extremely unlikely result. Then the feelings from all those stored up prayers gain magical power and become incarnate. The magic that Grandfather was trying to perform was probably like that. The key randomly selected sacrifices in a lottery. So, to reduce the chance that he himself was selected, he chose the day with the greatest number of people on the island to carry out with the ceremony.
Ridiculous! Are you saying that this entire situation was caused by a mere ceremony for some bizarre magic?
Natsuhi yelled. She couldn't quell the fear that a scorpion charm might be the only reason she was still safe.
If I hadn't received that charm from Jessica and hung it from my doorknob, would I have been killed, mixed in along with those 6? And the strangest part is, even though I hung the charm from the inside of my door, they couldn't get through that door. The culprit noticed the charm from outside the door and gave up trying to open it. A human couldn't have perceived that. A charm meant to stop something that was not human had done exactly that. Impossible, impossible, impossible! But Natsuhi-san, the epitaph certainly does continue to fit even after that.
On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. Could this be about talking about Eva-sama and Hideyoshi-sama?
Painful as it may be, we must reach that conclusion. And after the culprit killed them, they left words from the 3rd twilight in the letter there.
That's right. After carrying out the 2nd twilight, they left the 3rd twilight in that place. The 3rd twilight was just like Aunt Natsuhi just read. On the 3rd twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. And if you read it this way, it just keeps going on, doesn't it? On the 4th twilight, gouge the head and kill. Gouge the head and kill. George Haniki's parents were killed with those demons' ice picks gouged into their heads. But if they were the 2nd twilight, someone else must have been gouged in the head. That's Grandfather. He was burned in the incinerator, and our eyes were so drawn to that part that we didn't notice. But his forehead... no, his head had been gouged.
Grandfather was the victim of the 4th twilight? Then Canon-kun was...
On the 5th Twilight, gouge the chest and kill.
I knew it, dude.
We thought Canon-kun's case was an unexpected encounter with the culprit, but that's wrong. From the very beginning, they planned to lure someone out alone and drive something through their chest.
If the culprit has followed the epitaph this far, does that mean 3 people still have to die?
On the 6th Twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the 7th Twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the 8th Twilight, gouge the leg and kill.
Yes. You could read it that way.
Well, I wonder about that. After those 3 die, it reaches the 9th Twilight. Take a look. On the 9th Twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive.
We're all gonna be killed by Beatrice.
I don't get it. Wouldn't that mean everyone dies no matter how many people there are? What was Grandfather after? Doesn't this mean the ceremony would kill him too? No matter what?
It's okay if no one's left alive. On the 10th Twilight, we finally arrive at the Golden Land.
On the 10th Twilight, what?
No, go ahead.
You, dude, you get me so anxious when you say that because I feel like I have to know.
Well, I mean, I was just saying, do I read this? And then I didn't know.
Oh well, yeah, because it's there's no name, so it's battler like
Okay.
reminiscing.
Okay.
On the 10th Twilight at Journey's End, you shall attain the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures.
Grandfather wasn't afraid of dying. Look at the 2nd and 3rd of the 4 treasures.
One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. So Grandfather believed he would eventually be revived even if he died partway through his ceremony?
Ridiculous. That's insane. When you die, it's over, right? The dead don't come back to life. Isn't that a miracle humanity's been chasing after thousands of years and still hasn't accomplished? So is this what it means? Something like you'll be able to meet them in the afterlife? Will they be restored?
If what you're saying right now is right, would that mean that Grandfather, whose remaining life is slim and who's been driven mad by love, is committing suicide? No, a massive forced group suicide?
Genji, is such a thing possible?
I don't know. The master is a man who sometimes has the wisdom to see 1,000 years into the future. However, there are times when that appears to be nothing more than madness to commoners such as myself.
Okay, should we take that for a yes? What do you say, Kumasawa-san? I don't know anything. That's right, I don't know. Do you think I would be on this island today if I did know? I would have faked an illness or done anything to take the day off, that's right.
What about your opinion, Dr. Nanjo? You've been Grandfather's friend for many years.
I feel the same as Genji-san. Kinzo-san was a man who fought to pass ordinary people. I've even felt a sort of inhuman power from him at times. Even I don't know what Kinzo-san was thinking when he wrote that epitaph.
All we can say is that even if Father did write this script, someone else is carrying it out.
That's right. At the very least, there's another culprit who attacked Grandfather and Canon-kun. Furthermore, that person is still continuing the crimes, just as the epitaph says.
The letter in the beginning that we didn't think deeply about. What was it that was written in there?
We thought back to the recitation of the letter last night. Beatrice had proclaimed something inside it. She had proclaimed that according to her contract with Kinzo, she would collect everything of the Ushinomiya family as interest. But then she had also revealed a special clause. If someone discovered the location of the gold Grandfather had hidden, the right would be lost. When the letter was read, Grandfather was still alive. But at that time, it had already been sealed with wax by the head's ring. Which meant Grandfather had handed the ring over to Beatrice while he was still alive. If we take a straightforward approach, maybe we should assume Beatrice is carrying out that strange contract, with Grandfather guaranteeing her that right. In other words, this was the same as saying Grandfather knew of and approved the contents of that letter. In other words, it's basically a joint message from Beatrice and Grandfather, telling us that Beatrice will start collecting interest if we don't solve the riddle. In other words, Grandfather and Beatrice were demanding that we try and solve the riddle of the epitaph. And if we couldn't, they were saying that the massacre would be carried out according to the epitaph. What does that mean? What do they want? I don't have a clue what it means.
Look, another letter from Beatrice.
Huh? What did you say? Maria was pointing at the top of the table, where the canned food everyone had been eating now just lay. Dude, that was dyslexic as fuck. That was bad. That was a bad one shot. You know, I'm perfectly sober too. So frankly, I'm just a little embarrassed.
Oh, Nor. I think you need to fix that to read better.
I can't, dude. It'll take way too much time to go in the kitchen and set up the bong.
I was talking about alcohol, but okay.
It'll take too much time to go to the fridge and grab a beer.
Okay.
A Western envelope for Beatrice certainly was sitting there, but so what?
Oh god, Nazi jump scare.
Okay, so that.
What in the...
On Natsuhi let out a hysterical cry.
Get in the kitchen!
Alright, I'm getting, you know what? Here, put us on break. I have to use the bathroom anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, break.
I'll pee and
I'll be
make
back
a margarita.
with alcohol.
Quick break. See you in a bit.
Pee and drink.
Hello, we're back. Alright, so we talked about spinning the chessboard maybe like three times? Like the phrase spinning the chessboard around.
All right. Salud. There you
Salud.
go. I'll take 3 gulp.
Yeah, Shane's got it. Shane's got his Marg, and he's got a Modelo, I think.
Bro, I don't understand. Are we supposed to use our names on stream or not?
Oh. Well, you
Nice
said
docs.
you said you didn't care.
Well, yeah, but most of the time you don't do it still, so I don't know. Are you trying to dox me or not?
What? No. If I dox you, I dox me.
Not really. We're individual people.
Nom 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 nom.
This is
But
why I changed me to being me.
Fire.
I mean, you're right. I said I don't care, but I like to be silly.
Yeah,
You
like to be
a
mean.
problem causer.
Okay.
Causer of problems.
Listen, they're a Latina.
Oh yeah. By the way, how much longer are we going for? What do you guys
I
want
don't
to
know.
do tonight?
I'm down to go for as long as we want to. We didn't get to do shit last time, so
I'm down to keep going.
Well, yeah. I mean, no duh, but I mean, like, you know, in general, like, how long is everyone available? Because I'm down to go for a while, but I just want to know what we're doing.
I'm down to go for a while. I don't have work tomorrow, so
Neither do I.
fuck it. Let's keep going.
That it still does not answer.
We'll call
what
it
I'm
when
saying.
we call it. We don't have to set a time.
I am autistic. I need clear communication and terms.
I am down to keep going.
When
for...
feel bad about Reed. When Reed feel bad, we stop.
I think-
Stop when bad Reed feel.
I think we're good to go for at least a couple more hours. If you want like a strict timetable, at least.
You feel bad, Reed?
No read.
No me gusta.
You guys are fucking obnoxious.
What? I'm trying to help. Was I
Dude,
that
I'm
helpful?
kidding.
Oh, okay.
Relax. I'm
Okay.
fucking kidding.
No, I'm not.
No, I could care less what you think. I was just being a dick because it's funny.
Yahoo!
I know you are a dick, and I hate you.
Hooray!
Okay, so they got the letter, right? There's
Yep.
another letter, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it just
Okay.
magically appeared on the table.
And Natsuhi let out a hysterical cry, looking between her own hand and the table. Because the envelope she had just opened was still grasped in her hand. So, why is there still an envelope on the table?
Oh god, I was eating a gummy. I'm just
Well.
eating some shit right now. What the hell? What's going on, Maria?
Where did that envelope come from?
Just now I looked and it was lying there. I don't know anything!
This isn't funny. There's only 8 of us. There's no way. Oh, dude, no way. Hold on. I lost the footage.
Oh, God.
Quick, re-up. The Discord stream, re-up it,
Oh,
please.
oh wait, okay, okay. I got you. No worries.
That pause gonna.
That's what I'm saying, man.
There you go.
There's no way some 9th person snuck in. Fuck, dude. Maybe Reed does feel bad.
No,
There
no!
wasn't enough. There wasn't enough time during the few seconds that we gathered around the portrait, right?
Okay, bye, Adam. Oh, God.
Okay.
Get back, all of you! Back against the wall!
And Natsuhi was pointing the rifle at Genji and the others, bellowing at them.
Oh, God.
Genji-san was overpowered, his face looking like blew what was going on.
Shoot Maria, shoot Maria.
Hey!
Yeah. Dude, I still think it's her. You can't convince me that it's not. Of course, I felt the same, but a few moments late, I reached the same conclusion Aunt Natsuhi had. Until just a few seconds ago, there had been no letter like this on the table. And nobody entered this room.
Sorry.
I mean, someone among us placed it there during the few seconds when everyone was looking away, preoccupied with the portrait.
Battle-kun, open that envelope and read what's inside.
Sure. I picked it up. It was still sealed with wax. Even without disturbing its contents, I realized that this was an as yet unopened envelope. An unknown envelope. Without relying on a paper knife, I tore it open and pulled out the letter inside. The contents were as follows. Are you enjoying the riddle of Kinzo-sama's epitaph? As you are all probably aware, you have very little time remaining. Please abandon any naive hopes of escaping after the storm passes. This game can only end with my victory or yours. When time runs out, I will win by default. There will be no ties. Make sure that you do not misunderstand your current situation. That's what it says.
It isn't clear who put this letter there. However, I have been able to narrow down the list of suspects. It's you all!
Okay.
Madam, that's just too horrible.
Just before I moved towards the portrait, I set a can of food down here. At that time, there definitely wasn't anything as strange as this letter here. And at that time, Jessica, George, and Battler-kun were already in front of the portrait. And they didn't leave the spot in front of the portrait until the letter appeared. So the person who set that letter down is one of you four! Beatrice is here!
We aren't Beatrice. Beatrice exists.
Dude, I'm so fucking bored, to be honest. Can they stop dragging this out? She's gonna show up! Like, she's going to show up, dude.
Silence!
Please do it.
Shut up! I don't know whether I should suspect one of you or all of you. But without a doubt, at least one among you is the culprit. That's right. There can't be a 19th person. There's no way witches exist. Even when Kanon-kun was killed? Yeah, that could be explained if Kumasawa-san was the one who did it. The truth is that Kumasawa-san entered the boiler room with Kanon-kun and killed him. And then she lied, saying he had already fallen when she got there.
You're making a mistake, milady. Why would I do something like that?
I don't have the slightest idea how my parents were killed in that closed room. But when they were killed, everyone except for the servants had an alibi. The only ones who didn't were the servants. Does that really mean it's okay to suspect them?
Yes, now that you mention it, they have no alibi for any of the cases. Ugh. Should we really be so quick to make that judgment? But this time, in this room, in this place, in this moment, in this minimally small bit of time and space, it's obvious. Only one of the four of them could have set the letter there in our blind spot. We can't tell who put it there, but it's obvious that one of the four did it.
Natsuhi-san, please calm yourself. A lot has happened today. I understand how much strain is on your mind right now.
Dr. Nanjo, it truly pains me to call you suspicious. However, you are father's personal doctor and his closest friend. You have been by his side for many years, and you might even know about Beatrice. Could you be hiding some kind of old obligation?
Of course not! Calm yourself!
It was pitiful to watch Dr. Nanjo frantically plead. What?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah, you got it?
No, I can't actually. I messed it up again.
Alright.
It was pitiful to watch Dr. Nanjo frantically pleading his innocence. It was probably a normal reaction that anyone would give if they were suspected. Kumasawa was the same. Ever since Jessica voiced her suspicions of Kumasawa murdering Kanon, Kumasawa had been totally flustered. That was why Genji's still calm appearance looked so bold. And Natsuhi pointed the barrel of the gun.
Genji, you were grandfather's #1 subordinate. Was Beatrice an illusion you showed to father, with you as the performer?
If by suspecting me, you recognize me as the Master's greatest servant, then I count it a great honor, regardless of the circumstances. However, I am not the one who put the letter there.
Do you expect us to just accept that? You must be the ringleader. Maybe Kumasawa and Dr. Nanjo are your accomplices. And Maria-chan, too.
Not content to suspect just the adults, and Natsuki pointed the gun relentlessly at Maria, too. But Maria acted as though nothing had happened. Or maybe she thought she would be fine even if she was shot.
Can we appreciate the music for a second? It's kind of, the synth's kind of going hard right now.
I've been head bobbing.
Yeah. Maria-chan, by this point we can no longer remove someone from suspicion just because they're young. So for the last time, let me ask the question that everyone's had since last night. Yesterday, who was the Beatrice who handed you that letter? Maria, don't dodge the question. Make it clear. Who gave you that letter?
How many times do I have to tell you? It's Beatrice, the 1,000-year-old gold witch. If you want to know what she looks like, just turn around. See, she's right there. Beatrice is.
Don't mess with us, Maria!
Enough, Jessica! Maria, too. Don't you understand the situation? What are you hoping to gain by saying stuff like that? Stop stirring each other up pointlessly!
I don't understand. Who do you all want the culprit to be? You only believe in Beatrice when you don't want to suspect one of your own. When you're trying to settle a grudge because someone who's close to you has been killed, only then do you want to believe in a human. You can attack with violence and deny Beatrice. That's why you can't see her. Beatrice exists. You all can't see her.
Silence! I don't want to label you as the culprit, but there is no longer any doubt that you enjoy making the situation unpleasant and are providing assistance to the enemy.
Then what will you do? Shoot me? I don't mind. Very soon the door to the Golden Land will be open. Then all the dead will be resurrected. Right now, death is nothing to be afraid of.
Mom, she really is suspicious. We can't keep her with us.
Natsuhi, please calm down. There's no reason to shoot Maria. Maria, please remain composed. The letter was meant to provoke us, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Even the culprit is scared of what will happen tomorrow. They're scared of the police. Right now, this island is free from the reach of the law, but that's only because it's isolated by this typhoon. Once the typhoon passes, the law will return. So you mustn't shoot.
How can you say so calm, George Lee-san? One of these four is the culprit. No, maybe all four of them are working together. How can you stay so calm when one of these four might be the culprit who killed your parents?
Even I have the desire to find the culprit and kill them. But that would be simple barbarism. I'll leave the judgment of crimes to the law. So no matter how suspicious they are, you mustn't pull that trigger.
I feel the same as George Aniki. And Natsuki, get a hold of yourself for a second. Anyway, it'd be bad to shoot. In times like this, I hear you should tilt your head back and stay cool. You know, say stay cool 3 times. Just be chill, man.
chill,
It's gonna be
man.
fine.
Get out of my head! Get out of my head! Let me make this clear. Witches don't exist. Not on Rokunjima. Not in the Ushiromiya mansion.
Man, she's gonna die next, dude.
I declare it as Ushiromiya Natsuki, representative of the Ushiromiya family. There's no witch here. I won't accept Beatrice. No matter what you're planning, I won't let you lay one finger on my daughter or the rest of them. That's my duty as a mother and as representative to the family.
Those words were the final words of farewell that settled everything. To protect her daughter, Ann Natsuki would regard any suspicious person as an enemy. The only reason George Aniki and I were standing on this side was because, by coincidence, we had a clear alibi regarding the letter. If I hadn't approached the portrait, I would also be at the other end of that gun barrel, treated like a criminal. But even though a part of me thought that, part of me was thinking that chasing all the suspicious people from this room would finally guarantee our safety. Genji-san and Kumasawa-san and Dr. Nanjo, all of them were on grandfather's side. Maybe you could say that once Maria started blindly believing in Beatrice, she was also on grandfather's side. That's right, they're all suspicious. But is this really okay? If we throw out all of the suspicious ones in such a lawless way, will we still have the right to defy the lawlessness of the witch?
What are we fading to black for? Stuff's happening.
And Natsuki didn't tell them to leave with her own words. But with wordless pressure, she induced them to say that themselves. Because if Dr. Nanjo didn't say those words, this cold silence would surely continue forever.
Calm yourself, Natsuki-san. Still, I understand your feelings well. I feel like there's something wrong with my head after all of these strange, repeated incidents. So I understand why, well, you want to suspect us.
If you really have nothing to do with this, then my actions now would be beyond rude. However, please understand just this once.
Very well. Let's leave the room. What do you say, Genji-san? Shall we return to the parlor and continue our chess game?
If that is what you wish, by all means.
I don't want to. After all, that means we'll have to leave this room knowing that the wolf is among us, right? I don't want to. Madam, please forgive me.
It was obvious what Kumasawa-san was trying to say. If she was innocent, then she was being ejected into dangerous territory along with the culprit. In the current situation, urging her to leave this room along with the suspects was almost exactly the same as letting her get killed. However, Kumasawa-san really was suspicious just for being the very first one to discover that Kanon-kun had been murdered. At that time, everyone except Kumasawa-san had an alibi. Unless we could prove the existence of some contraption, or the existence of some 19th person, Kumasawa-san was by far the most likely suspect. I didn't want to believe it. However, Ann Natsuki and the rest of us were in such a difficult situation that we couldn't help suspecting her as well. So we didn't say anything to stop Ann Natsuki from trying to oppressively chase them from the room. We had stopped her from shooting, but we were passively agreeing to chase the others out of the room. On top of that, Maria spoke to the fretful Kumasawa-san.
It's okay. Beatrice is kind to those who respect her. You believe that Beatrice exists. So it'll definitely be okay. I'll watch TV in the parlor. Let's watch it together. It's so boring here without TV.
It looked like Kumasawa found Maria's roguish laugh very frightening. However, the three other people had agreed to leave the room. Kumasawa couldn't fight the flow and had to agree, crying as she went. Okay, bye.
Okay, they're gonna die now. Woohoo! Well then, Natsuki-san, that will be all for tonight. Let us meet again tomorrow. Totally, we're not going to die at all.
Yes, please understand, at least for tonight. When the police come, all of us will surely apologize for our rudeness. You may play chess, but do it in a safe place if you can. Genji, I leave them in your hands.
Certainly.
can't be helped, can it? They always say that the most frightening bears are those with their children.
Genji, Kumasawa, my sincere apologies. Let us meet again tomorrow. Maria-chan too. Please forgive your cold aunt.
I forgive you.
Madam, the keys to this room. I will hand both over to you.
Genji-san pulled 2 golden keys from his pocket and handed them to Annats.
And I will also hand over my bundle of keys to the inside of the mansion.
He took out a
Damn.
bundle of about 10 keys of various shapes and handed it over. To the servants, those keys were probably proof of their possession. Being placed in charge of those keys meant that they were trusted, relied upon. When they were forced to return them, it meant that they had lost that trust. Thinking about it this way, the Genji-san who had worked here for a span of many years, there could be no greater shame. However, Genji-san's usual indifferent expression remained on his face.
Genji, I had planned that, after father passed away, I would reward you for your many years of hard work and allow you to retire. Treat you like this makes me feel ashamed from the bottom of my heart.
I have already received the Master's favor. Everything I have done until today has been in repayment for that. Please, do not worry over it.
Well then, shall we, everyone? Good night to you all.
Good night. Good night to you too, Battler.
Maria, wait a sec. Knowledge of guilt made me call Maria back. I groped around in my pocket and took out that scorpion keychain. This repels magic, right? Wear it.
Didn't you say you dropped it?
Back then, I got ticked off and just bluffed that I'd lost it. There's no way I'd lose the precious charm you gave me. Maria silently took the charm. I was unable to say anything after that.
Well then, everyone. Good night to you.
We watched them leave, our expressions completely worn out, and we weren't even able to respond. Okay, so the new framing of the situation is that Beatrice is not alive yet, right? That's what they're saying?
I mean,
But
you could,
when somebody completes the ritual and kills everyone, then she'll come back?
Yeah, I mean, the whole ritual is to revive Beatrice, period. So, yeah.
So
So right now,
That means
Beatrice
that-
is dead.
yeah, I understand, but that
Okay.
means we have to suspect somebody who's remaining, right? That's
Perhaps, yeah.
what they're pointing towards. Well, no. What do you mean, perhaps? Because I'm asking if that's like, is that what the game is telling us, or is that what is that just what I think based off of assumption?
Well, I mean, the characters are definitely saying that, you know, Beatrice doesn't exist. She's dead. So it can only be one of the people in here.
I'm just confused, like, what conclusion it was that Battler came to about, like, well, I guess he didn't come to like an abject conclusion, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still not clear whether or not, like, how do you say? Because the thing about Kumasawa-san can't be real, because we literally saw via third person that it was not her that killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So that still points me in the direction of, like, Beatrice is obviously real, and
Mm-hmm.
I just can't tell if the game wants to make it a mystery or not, like, actually, because that's what's getting me, is that it feels like it's a mystery for the characters, but for us as the readers, it's like, it's fucking obvious that she's real.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. I think it's
Yeah.
like we're sitting here watching them hold on to reality as they know it.
I guess so. I don't know, it's just not super...
At least that's what I'm thinking.
No, you're probably right. It's just not super grabbing me, because it's like they're sitting here arguing about the same shit over and over, when, like, from an outside perspective, I already know what the answer is, and I don't really like many of these characters as people either, so I don't care what happens to them. Like, I care what happens to Battler. I care what happens to basically just the kids. I care about them and what happens to them, pretty much. That's about it. The rest of them are shitbags.
I kind of care about Natsuhi now.
Yeah, that's definitely Natsuhi's story.
I don't know, dude. I'm low-key starting to not trust her, I think, because she's exerting so much control over the situation, almost as if she has something to hide. Plus, she's got a big revenge motive.
I don't see that as suspicious, though, because she's been a control freak, like, from the get.
I guess that's true. Do you not think that she... Because I think she has a really good, like, revenge motive, also, because she's the person who's been snubbed by the family the most. When you think about it, considering she married the guy who was going to be the next heir, but she still got zero respect.
Yeah, but she had, like... We had a whole flashback that she had come to terms with that, no?
I mean, I feel like you can, like, accept reality and still be bitter, right?
Gotcha. They didn't imply that she was bitter. I don't know. It would just be weird to give us all this information, but leave that out of the narrative, you know?
I don't know. Whenever I'm in a mystery story, I'm always assuming that that plot twists are on the table. So I could totally see her coming out later and be like, "Bitch, I was killing everybody the whole time."
Real.
At this point, the only thing that's sort of making sense in my head is that Beatrice has been possessing Maria. I think that's...
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, too. Like, there's got to be some sort of, like, direct involvement between those two. Like, Maria is for sure involved, and she is not blameless. Like, that much is obvious. Because I'm, like, if I remember correctly, every time she's been, like, kind of not watched or, like, left alone, and all of the older characters go around and do stuff, something happens. So, that's a big red flag. Okay, water up, water up. Oh, dude, I should have refilled my water, too.
Ruh-roh.
Until the door closed and we heard the auto lock, we were unable to breathe. Then we were finally allowed to take a breath. After that, I noticed that Beatrice's letter, which I'd been gripping the whole time and which was soaked with my sweat, actually had 2 sheets. The paper had been tightly stuck together, so I mistakenly thought that there was only one.
You fucking bitch.
Uh-oh.
There were no characters on the second sheet. The thing drawn there was a magic circle, written with a red ink like blood. Just like how every magic circle up until then had been different, this magic circle was one I'd never laid eyes on before.
You just hear from outside the door, "Oh! More! More!"
Inside the circle, a large triangle and a small triangle were fit together in a simple design. But just as before, there was writing in Hebrew, and it seemed clear that it held some kind of meaning. I wanted to know what that could be, but we had just chased Maria, the only person who could understand the meaning of magic circles, out of the room. I thought of this magic circle as Beatrice's second message. What does this circle mean? Damn it! After chasing out all the suspicious people, all we had to do was stay barricaded here until morning, and everything would probably be over. Once the typhoon is past, when the seagulls cry, will everything be resolved?
Oh, that's the title!
No. But the letter, which had unexpectedly appeared in the study, forced us to reject that naivety. It had made it very clear that if time ran out, it would mean the witch's victory. When time runs out, is the witch planning to take on the offensive? This time, is she planning to display some fearful magical power? Maybe something that could have been used to kill 6 adults at once? Wait, when is time supposed to run out anyway? I don't know anything.
With this, we should finally be safe. Finally. Definitely.
Even as she said that, Natsuhi couldn't stop gripping the rifle. There was no release in the tension of her expression. Of course, none of us felt like breathing a sigh of relief. At least, not until we could hear the cry of the seagulls once more.
Oh! Oh god, the clock! Oh god, the clock is... Have you noticed the clock has been getting closer?
To midnight, yes.
Oh boy! Almost midnight.
After we chased them out, nobody wanted to say anything. All of the suspicious ones had been driven away. Even though we knew there might be some innocents among them, we still did it. We chased them out of this paradise, where people don't have to suspect each other. But our motive for chasing them out was suspicious of one person towards another, the worst kind of crime for a human. If we had accepted the existence of a 19th person, of the witch, then we all might still be talking face to face, trusting each other. In that instant, we had agreed to chase out all of the suspicious people. But had that been the right thing to do? During this endless silence, we could do nothing but be quietly tormented by that sin. And Natsuhi faced the door without letting go of her rifle for even an instant, sitting far back in the sofa. She would probably spend the night staring at the door without a wink of sleep. George Aniki gazed through a gap in the closed curtains by the window, looking down at the courtyard and the mansion that surrounded it. I didn't know whether he was checking to see if a suspicious shadow would become visible through the window, or whether he was wondering to himself about something. Jessica was sitting sideways on the sofa next to Ann Natsuhi, with a dead expression on her face. And once in a while, as though she had just remembered something, she'd take out the inhaler she had used during her asthma attack and stick it in her mouth. I just heard it from Aniki, but apparently Jessica liked Canon-kun. It was apparently so vague that she hadn't realized it herself. You know, it's the kind of thing other people tend to spot before the person in question realizes it. Which means she might have first learned of her feelings when the person she liked died. Must have been so terrible, so sad. Come to think of it, Canon-kun was the one who handed her that inhaler. Maybe she was remembering that. I was fishing around Grandfather's study, thinking I'd research the meaning of the magic circle on the letter's second sheet. Even though we were shut up here in a defensive position, my rebellious nature made me want to find some key, some way to resist. After all, we've got plenty of time before tomorrow morning. Who could fault me for how I used that time? No one else showed that much interest in the magic circle. Its meaning was unknown, and once we understood it, we were sure to find some message that would cause us unnecessary anguish. I felt the same way. However, I couldn't just ignore it, so I killed time by going through the motions of researching it.
You sure are enthusiastic. Did you find anything that might serve as a hint?
Not a thing. The first tough part is finding a book written in Japanese. Just how many languages could Grandfather read? He's incredible.
Aren't you tired, Battler-kun? You should take a rest while someone else stays awake. Natsuhi said she'd stay up all night for us, but there's no way her body can handle that. We should take turns sleeping.
Then you sleep first, Aniki. I'll keep researching until I get sleepy.
You mean the magic circle just now?
Yeah. We've got plenty of time to kill. I thought it'd be interesting to find out what kind of message Beatrice-sama put in it.
Give it a rest. Mess around with stuff like that and you'll end up getting possessed by something weird.
Don't worry. I've been certified by Maria. She said I've got no spiritual talent at all.
Were we too cruel to Maria? Jessica, you mustn't think that now. But Mom, if Maria wasn't involved and there's a culprit besides her, then she's obviously a soft target for the murderer. If she's killed because of this, then we've just left her to die.
A gloomy silence settled once again. It looked like Jessica regretted letting her emotions take hold of her and snapping at Maria. She's always been like that. Always acting tough and regretting it later.
I understand how you feel, but Maria was in close contact with the culprit, and she might have been siding with them, talking like that over and over to further confuse matters. I am relieved that we chased them out.
That's pretty harsh, Aunt Natsuki. Couldn't it have just been the nonsense of a 9-year-old girl? It probably wasn't very convincing to hear that coming from me. I myself thought Maria was creepy on several occasions, even doubting her true nature. And when Maria was chased out of this room, I couldn't deny I'd felt some relief.
If that is the case, then tomorrow we will apologize for what we did. I will take full responsibility for chasing them out of this room. This isn't something the rest of you have to worry about.
I could feel a tragic determination in Aunt Natsuki's words. To protect her own daughter, she had resolutely chased out the suspicious ones. And if, as a result, she had to watch the people who had unfortunately been suspected die, so be it. She was prepared to take full responsibility. Why does Maria have to keep saying stuff like that? She's bringing about her own ruin.
I think the reason Maria-chan adores witches and magic so much might be Aunt Rosa.
Aunt Rosa? What does she have to do with this?
Didn't you realize it too, Battler-kun? Maria-chan's real father ran off somewhere a long time ago. Although Aunt Rosa tried to confuse the issue by saying he's on a foreign business trip.
Talking about Rosa-san's family has become kind of taboo in the Ushinomiya family.
I think Aunt Rosa thought about remarrying, but I also believe Maria-chan may have become her. But I also believe that Maria-chan may have become her shackles, and made that quite difficult. After all, no one wants to boink a single mother.
That's a lie.
After all, she sometimes got. Yeah, that's totally a lie. She sometimes got really emotional and hit Maria-chan.
I agree with you there. It looked like Aunt Rosa was trying hard to like Maria. Which means that she didn't really like her. She might have thought of Maria as someone who stood in the way of her remarrying.
I think that emotional rejection from her mother must have left some deep scars on her young heart. So she learned about this occult hobby from somewhere and immersed herself in it to bury the holes in her heart. Did you know?
No, I didn't.
To Maria-chan, the image of a witch isn't negative at all. Remember yesterday at the beach when she showed us a notebook?
Yeah, it was full of all those fun-looking scribbles. Yesterday, when we were down by the beach doubting the witch, Maria got all riled up and started explaining about witches. And now one of the pages had shown a picture of an ugly witch. They were all brightly colored, beautiful, cute witches who looked like they were having fun. There was absolutely nothing sinister about them, like a boy might have imagined. There were beings adorned with beautiful dresses who could grant anyone's dreams with their mysterious magic and who made everyone happy. The sorrow of not being loved by her mother. And Maria sought help from witches as beings who could give her happiness and save her? Someday a witch would come, and using her wonderful magic, would bring Maria happiness. Even though she believed that, as she grew older, she had to face reality as her fleeting dreams were sliced to ribbons one by one. If something claiming to be the Witch of Rokkenjima appeared in front of a girl like that, whispering that she'd take Maria to the Golden Land where Maria could be happy,
Now that it's come to this, I want to confess what's in my heart. Throwing out Maria-chan, no. Genji-san and the rest too. It's probably the wrong thing to do, I think.
It wasn't pleasant.
since Jessica had been the one to face them and slam them with words of rejection, her conscience must be tormenting her a lot right now.
Then how do you explain that letter? No one could have said it there except the 4 people standing behind us. I made sure of that with my own eyes. If those 4 are innocent, how was that letter placed in a closed room with 8 people?
That's right. When you put it that way, those 4 really do seem suspicious. But it's all useless. It's all useless.
Useless? What is?
Right. It might not be worth anything more, but let me spin the chessboard around again.
Take a sip.
I already finished it, bro.
Oh my god!
In other words, if one of those 4 really was the culprit, isn't that weird?
That's right. Wasn't sitting that letter openly on the table the same as confessing that one of them was the culprit? You're right. That's weird. If they were going to do it, you'd think they'd put it in the crack of the door, for example, to make it look like someone had slipped it in from the outside. Of course, they should have known that they'd be suspected if they didn't make it look like the culprit was outside the room.
Yeah, that's it exactly. If the culprit was one of those 4, setting the letter right in the middle of the table would be both risky and meaningless. But putting aside whatever trick was used to set it there, if we assume that the culprit is someone other than those 4, in other words, someone who was outside the room, then they had a lot to gain from that letter.
Enough, Battle-a-Kun. It's meaningless to discuss such matters now.
Natsuhi-san quickly guessed at what I was getting at. No, maybe she had thought of it long before I had, and simply held her tongue. If the culprit's outside the room, then they'd be totally stuck the moment we shut ourselves up in a closed room like this. That's right. It's the same as my theory about how grandfather disappeared from this room, isn't it? The theory was that grandfather had left the room of his own accord. If the culprit used some tactic to lure him out, and grandfather left of his own accord, then... Come to think of it, when we found the scorpion magic circle on the doorknob to the study, Maria said it herself. Beatrice couldn't get through this door, but she could induce someone to leave of their own accord.
Which would mean...
Yeah, and that's...
we fell for the culprit's trap completely.
That's what they mean by the wedo.
And sent out some new potential sacrifices.
Oh, fuck.
Genji and the rest aren't fools. When they try to protect themselves, they should find the next safest place after this room. They will definitely be able to hide themselves there.
Yeah, but you won't let them back in, cunt. And Natsuhi hadn't answered the question. And Natsuhi herself had realized that if the culprit wasn't in our group back then, the letter would make sense as a trap. However, it wasn't worth the risk of calling back the people she had once thrown out. To Ann Natsuhi right now, her greatest and only duty was to protect the children. By her thinking, in order to do that, a few sacrifices were unavoidable. Hey, Aunt Natsuhi, let me do something a little harsh, okay? At that time, what if, by coincidence, Jessica had also been standing behind you? Would you have chased Jessica from the room too? It's true that a lot of brutal things have happened, but as a mother, you thought you should protect your daughter no matter what. Because of that duty, you chased them out, even though you knew that you'd eventually be held responsible for it. It's not like I'm condemning that, but, I was just thinking about what a great mother Jessica has.
That's right. You've been dealing with these incidents since morning, and you've been pulling all of us along this whole time, without losing your composure. If you were all confused, we'd be in the culprit's grasp by now. So, I think we all have to thank you.
Thank you. So what you two are trying to say is that you want her to act as Maria's mother too? I always thought of Maria as a real little sister and adored her. And yet, a few things happened, we got a little confused, and I've said a lot of mean things to her, hurting her. Mom, please, let's stay together with Maria. No, everyone. There was no culprit among us. The culprit in this case is the witch Beatrice. okay? So let's stop suspecting each other.
And Natsuki closed her eyes for a short while. Was she coping with her throbbing headache again, or was she thinking of something?
You are my precious daughter. The one I finally received a whole 12 years after I married my husband. I would become the worst kind of demon to protect you.
That was some pretty strong language at the end there. She realized very well that her words were an idealized view of what a mother should be. But even so, she was strongly resolved to protect her daughter, even if she had to become a demon. But that was her guilty conscience tormenting her. Today's been so long. So many things happened in one day, and we've been driven into a corner so thoroughly. I wonder if we have the right to greet tomorrow the way we are now. There it is. I found it. It's this magic circle. Inside the book I'd been flipping through, I had found the same magic circle that had been drawn on the second sheet of the letter. George Haneke peered at it as well. This magic circle's name was the third magic circle of Mars. The Hebrew written on it was from Psalm 77, verse 13 of the Old Testament. What God is so great as our God? The meaning of the magic circle was discord. Doo-doom!
Doo-doom!
Agitate internal divisions and cause the enemy to bring about their own downfall.
I'm not a fan of puppeteers, but I'm a nice
Fire
Guys, did we just make
referencing.
3 separate Discord
Yeah,
references?
yeah, you did.
This is so epic.
Terrible catch.
Wait a sec. Seriously? Could there be a more fitting way to describe our current situation and mental state? I couldn't help but be stunned into silence.
So, this letter was a trap? How did they place it here? There wasn't anyone in this room except for the 8 of us, right?
Anyway, let's ignore how they got it in here for now. The culprit was just after one thing. They wanted to spread the seeds of doubt inside this impregnable room and use us to throw the sacrificial sheep out.
In that case, they're after the people who went out of the room.
GG.
Mom, what should we do? Those 4 are in danger.
It wasn't surprising that Aunt Natsuhi remained unpleasantly silent. Even if this was all a trap by the culprit, even if the 4 who had been chased out of the room were in danger, it had nothing to do with the safety of the 4 people in here. And there was no way to prove the innocence of the 4 people we chased out. If we're willing to let them die, then we shouldn't leave this room no matter what. That way is safest.
Uh-oh.
At that time, suddenly the piercing sound of a phone rang through the room. It was the antique extension phone set on the table in Grandfather's study. It had hung right after we started talking about the letter being a trap. It was natural we'd think of it as an SOS from the ones we chased out. But then Aunt Natsuhi spoke.
Why a phone call? The phone should be broken down and unusable.
That doesn't matter! If that's Maria calling for help?
If the problem with the phones is the culprit's work in the first place, then this call is probably...
With that one sentence, the ring of the phone, which had once sounded like a scream for help, now started to sound like a ghastly lure for some unknown person. And Natsuhi hesitated over whether to pick up the receiver.
Let's pick it up, Aunt Natsuhi. Phones might have been fixed for some reason. It could be an urgent call from Maria-chan and the rest.
That's right. And if it actually is a call from the culprit, bring it on. Why don't we listen to what they've got to say? It's just a phone call. No matter what they babble to the receiver, it's not like they're gonna hurt you.
If you don't pick it up, then I will.
I will take it. Hello?
I stretched out my hand to take the receiver, but Aunt Natsuhi grabbed it before I could reach. We all held our breath, trying to figure out who the person on the other end of the phone was. But for a while, Aunt Natsuhi kept saying hello. A silent phone call? There's no way Maria and the others would do something so creepy. Which means... could this phone call possibly really be? Natsuhi stopped repeating hello and strained her ears. Because she thought she heard something far away on the other end of the receiver. What was that?
Huh? Is someone...
singing?
Are they being... Oh, I thought somebody was like being killed while the phone is on or something. That'd be funny.
Our God is an awesome God.
Got him! I'm hiding on the moon.
Fire.
What do you mean, singing?
I don't know. Faintly from the other end of the phone, I could hear someone singing. I wonder what it could be.
Give it here for a sec. Hello? I half forced the receiver from the stunned Aunt Natsui's hand and pressed it against my ear. At first, I didn't hear anything. Because I had been told about it beforehand, I noticed. It sounded far away from the receiver, rather than someone speaking in a quiet voice. And it sounded like a girl singing a song.
Hear that?
Hold on, I might have to turn it up. A little. That voice did sound like Maria's.
Oh, there is
That just
something
made the
kinda
situation
quiet in
even
the
more
background.
inexplicable. At the very least, the one who made the phone call hadn't been Maria. After all, Maria was singing some song far away from the receiver. In that case, the one who made the phone call should have been Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, or Dr. Nanjo. And yet, they weren't saying anything. Why? For what reason? The person who made this phone call. Who was it? Hey! Hello? Who is it? Answer me! Is that Maria singing? Answer me!
What's happening? What is it?
I don't know! All I can say is, this is probably a trap, and Maria's in trouble. And Natsumi took the receiver again, but after yelling into it several more times, she realized that she wasn't getting anywhere, and hung up. After that, she dialed quickly, and then she clicked her tongue. That's right. If the phones are working, we should be able to reach the police. But judging by Aunt Natsuhi's reaction, the outside telephone line still didn't connect.
Let's go. Even if we know it might be a trap, we have to go.
Yeah, definitely. Jessica and Natsui, stay here. When Aniki and I tried to dash out, Aunt Natsui stopped us.
Hold it. I cannot let you go alone. I will go too. Jessica, wait here.
What? So I'll be the only one left out? Nice
Yep,
try,
goodbye.
but I'm going to.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it might be better that way. If the goal of that phone call was to split us up further, it wouldn't be a good idea to leave someone to watch this room.
There's no time to argue. Let's all go.
And Natsui raised the rifle high and took the lead. I couldn't go unarmed myself. Found a 3-pronged candle stand and readied it. Oh, yeah.
Call a candelabra.
Although the pins on it used to fit candles were short, it was almost like a 3-pronged spear.
Oh boy. I wonder if we'll see
I
something
found a
interesting.
rock.
I got a rock.
I'm waiting on Beatrice, bro.
She's gonna come.
Then the 4 of us left the study. We left the study, which should have been the safest place inside the mansion. By doing this, we had been lured out, even though we had barricaded ourselves in a safe, closed room. Perhaps we were doing exactly the same thing Grandfather had done when he disappeared from that room.
Maria, where are you? Answer me!
I listened closely but didn't hear anything. The mansion was vast, and since the passing typhoon was making its last stand, the sound of the rain was even nosier than before.
Maria-chan said she wanted to watch TV in the parlor, right? Let's try going downstairs.
That's right. Let's try there. Everyone be mindful of your surroundings.
Yeah! With Aunt Natsuhi in the center, her rifle readied, her finger on the trigger. We moved in a group, our backs together, checking our surroundings in all directions.
It becomes an RPG from here.
Yeah. It was just as though the magic of that magic circle designed to spread discord had worked. We had split up, and furthermore, had been dragged out into dangerous territory. In other words, even now we were doing just what the culprit wanted us to do. This was a separate world where it wouldn't be odd for anything to suddenly occur. and Natsuhi had nervously pointed the barrel of the gun at every dark spot and shadow. It felt like the motion was out of fear rather than caution. But the rifle she held in her hand should have been a trump card that the culprit feared.
You know, I've been thinking, it wouldn't be impossible to stick one of those ice picks into someone's chest, like in Kanankin's case. But splitting the skull and sticking them into the forehead, like my parents' case, wouldn't be that easy.
You think the culprit had that kind of animal strength?
He probably had some kind of a weapon or device that can shoot out or pound in those ice picks. The handle was too short to be driven in that deeply by human strength alone.
Either way, they have enough force to break through his skull. I heard Cannon's wound reached as far as his lungs. If you happen to see your opponent, don't go forwards. You mustn't move away from my back.
Just how sinister and frightening was the weapon that could shoot those creepy ice picks? Could I do anything to combat it with just this candle stand in my hand? In the first murder, the culprit probably assaulted all 4 of our parents at once as they discussed the inheritance problem in the dining hall. And there were 4 of us here now. Apparently, I wasn't the only person thinking this. George Aniki, Jessica, and of course Aunt Natsuhi were stretching their senses to the utmost limit in the highest and worst state of tension, slowly advancing one step, then another. What have we done? Because of the seeds of doubt spread by that one letter, we threw Maria and the rest into the middle of this terrifying world. We finally reached the first floor. The parlor was just across the hall. When we listened carefully, we could hear it faintly. Maria's eerie singing voice. She wasn't singing naturally, as though she were in a good mood. She was singing mechanically, like she was at a graduation ceremony and she'd been ordered to. The song she sang was just a common folk song, one that everyone has probably sung in school at one time or another. But why that in the middle of the night alone, with all her heart, over and over? Why? Right after leaving the study, we had called out in loud voices asking Maria where she was. But this time, no one said even a single word. We hid our breath in the sound of our footsteps, and intensely focused on our surroundings to the point of being completely high-strung. We stepped forward. The door to the parlor was closed, but we could hear Maria's singing voice through it. And Natsui put her hand on the handle of the doorknob, when George Aniki stopped her.
I'll open the door. Natsuhi, Batlakun, ready your weapons.
Oh my god.
Understood. Take care. They might attack as soon as we open it. George Nissan, watch yourself.
Sure. Then I'll open it. Huh?
He tried to open it, but immediately felt the hard resistance of the lock. And Natsui took the bundle of keys from her pocket and gave them to George. There were about 10 keys, and none of us had a clue which was which. Because of this, George had to fumble around loudly and test several of the keys. Since we had hidden our footsteps, preparing to make a surprise attack on the room, this felt almost fatal. The whole time we could hear Maria's voice from the parlor, singing the same song over and over. It was like a broken, crazy cassette tape. We'd been in that room almost constantly since this morning. All the frightening things that occurred outside that room. That had left us with the impression that only this room was safe. The impression was quickly falling apart.
It's open.
Is she standing around a bunch
Thank
of bodies?
you. Jessica-kun, Jessica, move behind me.
And Natsuhi, let's jump in at the same time and split up in different directions. If we just stand around after opening the door, those ice picks might fly right through the center.
I agree. Ready?
I really wish I could say no. I readied myself. If they're gonna be throwing ice picks, I'll whack them with this candle stand.
Yeah, you get up. Go!
Yippee.
Get out of my
And Natsuki and
ear!
I... Oh my god. And Natsuki and I rammed into the door before flying into the parlor. Quickly splitting up left and right and searching for the parlor. And searching the parlor for someone who might be waiting for us. But what our eyes landed upon was an incredibly strange sight. Oh, I knew it, dude. The parlor was stained with blood. This place where we spent almost the entire day, where we pressed in together to protect ourselves from some unknown malice, had been stained fresh with blood. It had become an ocean of blood. On the floor lay Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, and Dr. Nanjo, their entire bodies stained bright red with the blood. But the only way we could identify them was by their clothes. That was because... That's right! This is how the whole tragedy started! Their faces, just like our smashed up parents in the shed. You couldn't tell where their eyes stopped and their noses began. It was as though they'd rudely plunged their faces into tomato pot pies, all squished up. Ah! And that wasn't all. Their bodies had other wounds. It was those demon ice picks. They were in Kenji-san's stomach, Dr. Nanjo's thigh. No, his knee? That's right, of course it's his knee. In the epitaph, the 6th twilight was the stomach, and the 7th twilight, the knee was gouged. So after seeing one of them stuck near Kumasawa Bachan's calf, I couldn't help masochistically laughing. Haha, that's right! On the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the 7th, gouge the knee and kill. On the 8th twilight, gouge the leg and kill. Now even the 8th twilight is over. And the next one, the 9th twilight. What was it again? Maria was there.
Oh, hey, girl!
Oh, fuck! Oh,
Oh, this did happen! This did happen!
She was facing the wall in the inner part of the room, standing stock still, completely alone. She faced away from this horrible scene, standing by the wall, singing her song over and over. There was nothing else in the room. Just the corpse. And the phone receiver, which was still off its hook, proving that this was the room the call had come from. Just that, and Maria, her back to this scene as she kept on singing while facing the wall. We couldn't even scream at this bizarre scene. We could only stare, shocked, with our mouths hanging loosely open.
Maria?
Yippee! Jessica called out to her, but Maria showed no reaction. Alone, she kept singing on and on. We had come here trying to save Maria from some approaching danger. So, now that we found her, we should have been running up to Maria, hugging her, joyous that she was safe. Yet, not one of us could do that. Everyone thought it, but they couldn't say it. After all, because that's right, even if that's crazy, no, it couldn't be! Maria! Stop singing! Are you listening? At some point, Natsuki and I pointed our weapons at Maria's back. I yelled at Maria in a violent voice. But there was no reaction. She just kept singing! With the candle stand still readied, I ran up to her and forcefully, violently slammed my hand down on her shoulder. Then I pulled on her shoulder, forcing her to turn around. Maria's small body was quickly pulled down and fell. And as though unhappy at having her singing interrupted, Maria looked into my face with her usual expression. Even in this gruesome situation, she was just like normal! Maria, what is this? Who did it?
Beatrice.
What the crap? I threw the candle stand I'd been holding against the wall. The violence of that reckless sound should have gone straight into Maria's heart. But Maria's expression didn't change at all!
Quit it, Betlakun. Maria-chan, this time you should have seen the face of the culprit who killed these three. Was the culprit the same Beatrice who gave you the letter?
Beatrice.
Well, in that case, it's certain. There is a 19th person. Beatrice does exist! And Maria, will you at least tell me this much? How did they kill these 3 people? What did they use to kill them in such a brutal way?
I don't know.
How could you not know? It happened in this room! Are you trying to tell me you were so absorbed in singing that you didn't notice?
Calm down, Battler-kun. Maria-chan, talk to me! Okay?
George Haneke, as he always did, crouched down next to Maria so that their eyes met and talked to her very kindly.
Maria-chan, why were you facing the wall and singing?
Beatrice said to face the wall and keep singing for a long time.
So, did Beatrice come here? Are Genji-san and the rest still alive then?
Everyone came into the parlor together and sat down. Genji made sure to lock the door.
It was locked when we got here, but then how did Beatrice get into the parlor?
Beatrice is a witch, so locks don't matter. She turned into butterflies and came into the crack in the door.
Huh? Calmly joking at a time like this? Like hell that happened! What are you saying?
You can't believe it? That's why I didn't want to say. No matter how I say it, you won't believe. But Beatrice is a witch. She can do anything with her miraculous magic. That's why Beatrice doesn't care whether a door is locked or not.
And then, after Beatrice appeared, what happened to everyone?
Beatrice talked to us. She said grandfather's study was protected by a powerful force, and she couldn't enter no matter what she did. So she told us she select 3 sacrifices from the 4 people in the parlor. Everyone said no way. Kumasawa-san kept saying no way, no way. But Beatrice chose, and when she did, Beatrice said I'd be fine. Why do you think? It's because of the scorpion charm with the 5th magic circle of Mars. The one Battler used to pray for my safety. The one he put his feelings into. Because of that power, Beatrice couldn't do anything to me, and me alone. So she decided to use the other 3 as sacrifices. After that, Beatrice spoke. Come, face the wall and sing a song for me. You will sing lots and lots of songs. So no matter what happens, no matter what you hear, you won't hear what you won't know. I don't know what that said. Come, sing lots of fun songs for me. So I was singing the whole time, over and over. So I didn't hear anything, didn't know anything. And then all of you came.
Are you asking us to believe that? You think we're stupid?
Then who will you suspect this time? Will you suspect me? Gonna try killing me right here? Even if you do that, Beatrice won't stop existing. Now the 8th twilight is over, and Beatrice will revive!
You serious? I've had enough of that talk. As if witches could exist. As if I'd let myself get tricked! I won't accept it. Beatrice doesn't exist! I definitely won't accept it! So I won't let her exist. I won't let her revive! The legend will remain a legend forever. I won't acknowledge something like that!
Quit it, Battler! It's not like Maria killed them or let them die! Beatrice came, and Maria had to obey. Was unable to resist! It resisted him! Uh-oh.
Huh? Natsuhi. She's in here.
Huh? What?
Mom? Where did she go?
Oh, she's next.
Just now she left by herself reading a letter.
A letter? That makes sense. The culprit must be so exhilarated now that we've reached the 8th twilight. They might have left a letter so that they could brag even more. We were so wrapped up in questioning Maria that we forgot to look for a letter! But even as well armed as she was, why would she leave the room by herself in a dangerous situation after reading it? Jessica tried to chase after her and tugged at the handle to the door, but it resisted strangely and wouldn't open.
Mom! Mom! What's going on? Open up! Open up!
was only natural. Natsuhi had picked up the candle stand which Battler had... Oh! I'm Battler!
Oh.
He's back.
He's back! He's
You're back, Shane. You're back. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That shit made my throat hurt really bad, so
Get
we might have
water.
to resolve. Because that shit feels not good.
Oh, but we're so close.
It was only Nat.
I don't mean
It was
now.
only natural.
Oh.
Natsuhi had picked up the candle stand, which Battler had thrown at the wall, which had fallen to the floor. She then skillfully wedged it between the doorknobs and the double doors like a bolt, holding them closed. The intricate design of the candle stand caused it to get caught solidly, and it did make a sturdy seal on the door. The tragic scream of a daughter for her mother. Did it reach Natsuhi's ears or not?
Okay,
Natsuhi's figure was...
Is it still him? I don't...
What?
Dude,
Well, 'cause
No,
he'd
Battler's
say,
not
"I'm
there."
Natsuhi.
I don't know what this is. Is this just like... Is the camera just panning down the
Yes.
hallway?
Yes.
Yeah, because it randomly switches to this like
Yeah,
omniscient third person. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Natsuhi's
yeah, because
figure
this is
alone
Natsuhi
in
by
the
herself, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
alone in the entrance hall. It was the place decorated by the portrait of Beatrice. Natsuhi threw down Beatrice's last letter, the one she had read in the parlor. Ready to rifle again, and in a voice that rang clear, yelled in the massive space that was in the entrance hall.
I am Ushinomiya Natsuhi, representative of the Ushinomiya family! Show yourself, Golden Witch Beatrice!
The entrance hall was dimly lit. Other than a faint light which shone from the center of the room, everything was blotted out by the jet black darkness. In that darkness, butterflies glittering in gold squirmed, twinkled, and sneered. Natsuhi gave one more huge gulp and pointed the cold barrel of the gun at the gold butterflies.
Okay, it's her turn to die now.
So you have finally shown yourself. I still can't believe that something like you really exists. But that isn't a problem. Both I, who bear the title of representative to the Ushinomiya family, and you, who claim to succeed the headship of the Ushinomiya family, are here right now. At this point, whether you are a witch or not, it's a trivial matter. Come, let us settle this. Which of us will truly succeed the Ushinomiya family? I, Ushinomiya Natsuhi, or you, Beatrice? Allow me to respectfully accept your request for a duel!
The gold butterflies slowly formed a human shape, which walked into the dim light. Natsuhi readied the rifle and glared. The witch raised her golden staff overhead and laughed. Natsuhi's finger slowly squeezed the trigger.
And... Go!
Battler made an all-out dash at the door, rammed into it, crushing the candle stand that had been barring it and making it possible for a big gap to be opened in the door. He kept kicking the candle stand through the gap, and the door was finally released.
Okay, and that's why he's gonna be dead now.
At that time, they heard it. They certainly heard the crisp sound of gunfire ring out once.
Mom! Mom!
Jessica-chan, you mustn't run off by yourself.
Is that the sound of a gun just now? Did Aunt Natsui shoot? At whom? At the culprit! The noise had come from the... Wait. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Is it me or is it you?
I don't know.
I think it's me, because we're back to Battler, right?
I
Okay.
guess.
The noise had come from the entrance hall. And the entrance hall looked like a stage. Like the heroine of a tragedy, on the ground and bathed in light. Arrayed in the beauty of that silence. And Natsuhi lay face up, crumpled on the floor. Half crazed, Jessica ran up to Aunt Natsuhi. On Aunt Natsuhi's forehead, it was almost as though a sparkling shard of pigeon blood ruby? Hold on, I'm looking at pigeon blood ruby right now.
Is that like a gem, maybe?
Pigeon blood ruby. Yeah, it's like the ovular shaped little rubies that you put on like jewelry and stuff.
Okay.
And from it, one stream of blood makeup passed by her eye and began to traverse her face. The faint smell of gunpowder smoke came from the barrel of the rifle Aunt Natsuhi still grasped. Then she shot herself in the forehead? Why? Goodbye, your mom dead. I don't get it! Why did Aunt Natsuhi run away alone? And why did she shoot through her own forehead?
Maria-chan, Natsuhi left the room after reading a letter, right? There's no letter here. Damn it! What did Natsuhi read? And why was she lured out here?
I don't know. I don't know. Who cares about that? What the hell? Why did she kill herself? Why did she leave me all alone?
Jessica clung to her mother's corpse, crying earnestly. My body was consumed with an anger I didn't know what to do with, and I snatched the rifle from Aunt Natsui's hand. I spun around, pointing the barrel of the gun into the darkness on all sides, as though I was pointing a light from a lighthouse trying to find the culprit. George Haneke, even in this situation, was trying to calmly figure something out, but that might have been a fruitless effort. And only Maria was completely indifferent. So is this all supposed to be some kind of predetermined fate? No, that's not it. This is all a prelude to a wonderful world. The door to the Golden Land will finally open.
On the 9th twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. And on the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. With this, everything is over, Beatrice. Congratulations. Congratulations. So lead me to the Golden Land you told me of, right now.
Battler just shoots her in the face.
Oh my god.
There, all of the dead will be revived, and even lost love will be restored. Though, in Maria's eyes, it's just as though all of today's tragedies didn't happen. It's as though all the time she spent deprived of love never happened. Stop it! What's so fun? What's to be congratulated? There were 18 people on this island. 14 are dead. Only the 4 of us are left. I'm definitely not gonna die. Until the night is over. No, until the typhoon passes and the seagulls gather again at the harbor, I'm definitely not gonna die! I'll stay alive. I'll stay alive no matter what!
Give it up, Battler. Guns are useless against witches. Survival and all that stuff doesn't matter, because it's over. The journey has already ended. See, look at the clock.
Uh-oh.
Clock? Hearing those words, I looked at my wristwatch. Those needles were almost touching near the top. Very soon, it'll be 12 at night. In other words, 2400. When you think about it, isn't 2400 a strange time?
Oh, Adam, you missed a lot, man. All the servants died.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Natsuhi just died.
We're finishing up the prophecy. It's
Yep.
happening.
It's happening.
It can be called 2400, and it can also be called 0 o'clock. It's the hour at the culmination of the previous day, and at the same time, It's hour 0 as the next day begins.
Beatrice!
Maria suddenly called out happily and ran towards the darkness. It was almost as though Beatrice was somewhere in that darkness, and Maria was running up to her.
Shoot!
As Jessica hugged her mother's corpse, as George Aniki stood there confused, I looked down the barrel of the rifle, gazing into the darkness. The space in front of Beatrice's portrait lay in that direction, and the thing Maria was running up to was the portrait's subject. You've gotta be kidding me. This is just impossible. Like I'd fall for something like this. Witches don't exist. I won't accept it. Something like you shouldn't exist. Because this is a human world! You think I could accept something that's not human? I definitely won't! When I pulled hard on the rifle's lever, the cartridge was ejected, fell on the floor, and a new cartridge was loaded. Then, I sighted the witch down the barrel. Maria turned around. Still clinging to the golden witch, she turned around.
Didn't I tell you it was meaningless? Mere lead bullets are meaningless against Beatrice. Humans are so stupid, aren't they?
I won't accept the existence of witches! Who are you? Just try moving one step. Try moving one finger! I'll blast you away!
It's gonna be her.
Uh,
Oh my.
Oh, good, that's not me. I think that's
It
supposed to
literally
be
says her
narration.
name.
I think that's supposed to be narration.
okay.
Like for me.
Oh, okay. I get. As the witch. No, the witches laughed. Even the large clock in the hall joined in on the laughter.
I think it's Battler.
Oh, it's Battler.
It did. It was probably telling us that the time was 2400. It was both a tone telling us that we had reached the culmination of this day, and a tone informing us that all had returned to nothing. The rule that the witch would win when time ran out had already been revealed.
Battler, George Nichan and Jessica, their journey has ended and the witch has revived, see?
And none shall be left alive. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. Only one shall be the gold from the Golden Land. One shall be the resurrection of all dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice. Maybe.
Ding dong. Ding dong, brothers.
Where does it start us after?
Oh, well. Hey! Alright, Shane, read that.
Oh my fucking
I
god.
can, I
Okay.
can read it.
Be quick!
The storm passed, and the leaden clouds that had shrouded the island for long cleared away. From the rifts between the clouds, sunbeams shone, and yesterday's storm seemed like a lie. Just as someone had wished, the seagulls had returned to the harbor once again and let their lively cries be heard. Afterwards, the police came and conducted an investigation of the scene. The corpses of the children, who were thought to have survived until the very end, were never found. However, because of the body parts that were discovered and the unimaginably gruesome nature of the scene, the police were forced to conclude that the chance of survival for the 18, even the children, was hopelessly dim. Just how gruesome was the banquet of the witch, and how beautiful was the Golden Land? They were the only ones who got to hear the tale. No tales were told to those humans who arrived after the banquet was over. The best they could do was imagine what might have happened during those 2 days. However, the witch was fickle. She made a point of leaving behind this tale, which didn't need to be heard. It was allowed to spread. Then many years later, a strange wine bottle had drifted the waves of Pier, the neighboring... Oh god, the music's so loud. front of the neighboring island was pulled out by a fisherman. Inside was a thin, lightly rolled notebook written upon it. Written there was his tale. Through the fragment, people will finally learn the truth of the mysterious riddle of film on October 4th, 1986.
Okay, you don't have to read it. You don't have to. Okay.
Shut up!
Okay.
The Wakajima amazed 18 Wakajima, the letter of the murderers, learned the occult mortal ceremony that had sealed the island. God damn it, why are they doing this so quickly?
I really don't know.
However, not one of these interpretations reads the truth. Furthermore, while the notebook fragment describes this mysterious incident, it does not reveal the truth of what happened there. Or perhaps even the writer didn't know what the truth was. According to the writer, her name was Ushinomiya Maria.
Let's go, Maria!
Incidentally, as a result of an all-out police investigation, a part of Maria's body, a piece of her jaw, was discovered. It was one of the rare instances where a corpse was identified thanks to dental records. At that gruesome scene, there had been many body parts that couldn't be identified as belonging to any specific person, so it's probably fair to say that this jaw was an extremely fortunate find, because the jaw
had been separated from its body, the police had their chances to survival, hopefully, even though the body parts were found. Right, and so let's include the final selection of the notebook.
By the time you read this,
Maria left behind. By the time you have read this,
I'm reading it! The side of the truth, that's my only wish. We should have made Maria.
this very day, the truth of the witch legend serial murders has not been brought to light. Oh, this is not a satisfying ending if this is just the ending.
It can't be.
First game.
First game.
Legend of the Golden Witch result.
Oh, don't tell me we have to redo, like, all this shit again or something, and then something different will happen. You said this game wasn't like that.
I mean, there is no choices to be made during this game. It's just a story that we read. So we just gotta see.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not starting over, right? There's more.
Hi, Signless Dreamer. Nice indeed. Oh boy. After he acknowledged the existence of the witch and prostrated himself, the witch invited him to the Golden Land. Basically all the same with.
Yeah.
Will Battler. Will the witch invite this man who denied her existence to the Golden Land?
Which will praise the wise and should bestow 4 treasures on the Golden Land. Okay, we already read this.
George chose
As
lost
decided.
fiance. Jessica chose the boy she liked and lost. Maria chose the lost love of her mother. Sleep peacefully, Beatrice. Let nothing disturb your slumber ever again. The winner is Golden Witch Beatrice. Time ran out before even one of the 18 people could solve the riddle of the gold. All 18 died. When the seagulls cried, none were left alive.
Okay.
Caw-caw! Caw-caw! Caw-caw!
I just need to know what happens when this fades to black.
Guys, that's the end of episode 1.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you didn't see on the main menu? There's 4 episodes.
Yeah, and you, like, select them individually, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're locked. You know, until you complete them. But, yes.
Oh god, so that was just the... Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna be doing this for a while.
Yeah. Addition of new features. The Golden Witch has prepared a gift for you in commemoration of your stay.
Yeah, okay, dude. What is it?
Wow. The game restarts. And there's tea party. You've done well to make it this far. Have you enjoyed your stay on Rokanjima? The Golden Witch has granted you an invitation to her tea party.
Okay, what is this a short thing? Like
Yeah, it's short.
how short?
Like perhaps 30 minutes.
Okay, you want to quickly do the tea party and then wrap?
I mean, that's
I'm
basically
down.
the end of episode 1, I think.
Yeah, because well, it reminds me of chat. I'm doing a video.
Purgatorio.
I'm doing a video on. All right, never mind. I'm done talking.
No,
Thanks.
go ahead.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
Anyway,
Let's
and,
read.
Don't be a butt face.
Dude, I'm fucking. Oh my god, I can't even be funny without you fuckers jumping down my throat.
Can
I
you
hate
not
you guys.
funny? Hurt my feelings, dick.
Wait,
Oh my god.
Dick ass butt.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
Battle.
Butt ass dick.
Where's my water, dude? I fucking hate you people.
Sorry. I'm just laughing at Battler. What he's saying.
But I was saying, this is like in games like Tsukihime where they'll have something at the end of a route to be like, hey, this is what you do going forward, like a little in between sections.
Yeah.
So now they're going to directly address us, the player.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, congrats on finishing UMINEKO no Nakukoro ni. Man, I still didn't have a clue what was going on when the story ended.
So what just happened? Was that basically the bad ending where time runs out before the culprit gets exposed?
But, definitely a bad ending.
That's right. Beatrice's letter, which Breach had read on the first day, did tell us in advance to solve the riddle of the epitaph. We were also busy trying to protect ourselves and look for the culprit that we didn't even take a shot at it.
That's right. If we had actually tried to solve the riddle, maybe things would have ended differently.
Ah! Get out of here, demon!
I wonder about that. Shannon-chan, you did a good job, too. You don't have to be our waitress and serve tea. After all, this is a rap party. As a group of people who met a horrible fate, let's all get along and lick each other's wounds. Lick, lick, lick.
Speaking of a horrible fate, Shannon beats the rest of us hands down, doesn't she? She was such a beautiful character, so I thought she'd definitely survive until the very end. But she was killed right in the beginning, and on top of that, what was it? Half of her face was smashed, right? That's the worst.
That was my role, so,
I hate this.
there was no way around it.
Like this.
Oh, hey, Ken.
Mason, it's nothing for you to worry about. Judging by the last epilogue, even Milady and the rest of them met an extremely tragic end.
It seems so. I think I remember seeing this horrible picture. Kind of like my entire body had been eaten apart and dismembered.
Speaking of which, don't you think Cannon's last moments were the coolest? Even though he had the tables turned on him, it was a showdown with the culprit, right? It's a whole bunch better than our confusing last moments, right?
Though in the end, I was unable to get a solid hit in.
Still, I think Kennington's death was a big hint. After all, because of that, the existence of the 19th person was made clear.
That's right. At the time, everyone's location would be obvious, so it was impossible for anyone other than some unknown 19th person to kill Cannon.
Yeah, they're all reunited. It's a happy ending, guys.
Yeah, true.
I said it was Beatrice from the beginning, over and over.
And the laugh track plays.
Dun, 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 dun,
I don't want to believe it, but that does prove the culprit was a witch calling herself Beatrice.
That's right. There were many strange things that happened that a human couldn't do. Only a witch could do things like murdering Aunt Ava in that closed room. A human couldn't do it.
Not only is the existence of a 19th person clear, but it's also obvious that this person holds a power that humans can't even imagine.
In that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling this person Beatrice.
We probably met at the very end. Met with this golden witch.
Like I kept saying, Beatrice exists. It all went bad because no one ever believed. Not even one of her witch friends said that miracles won't occur if you don't believe.
There can be miracles when you believe.
That's right. Beatrice-sama is generous to those who respect her.
It seems that Maria-sama was never a target of Beatrice-sama's wrath up to the very end, and despite the horrible crimes that occurred one after another.
Well, Maria believed in Beatrice from the very beginning. But if that's the case, how do you explain why you and the rest were all killed? You guys believed in Beatrice just as much, right?
Beatrice-sama probably had her reasons.
If the Song of the Epitaph represented Beatrice-sama's resurrection ceremony, many sacrifices were needed. He must simply have been designated to be one of those.
Shannon, you met a horrible end. At the very least, I wish your death could have been more peaceful and pretty.
Well, it's not like it hurt. Anyway, right now I'm perfectly fine, so don't worry.
After seeing him stroke Shannon-chan's cheek, which had been crushed during the story, everyone laughed out loud, smiling.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Okay.
This is fucked.
This is so fucking morbid.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, it feels a bit weird saying this, but I was sure this story would fit into the standard mystery genre. I'm a bit surprised to find out that it's a fantasy. Stop sucking your own dick, author.
Yeah, it was very obvious this was a fantasy, actually.
After all, West Match is shut away to the outside world, ice to the island. There's a hell of this problem on everyone's mind. So like a typical mystery novel to me.
It's not fantasy. Beatrice exists.
Yes, we understand. Beatrice-sama does exist.
That's right. Beatrice-sama does exist.
Yeah, okay, bro.
I hate to admit it, but I've got no choice. Because it's obvious a 19th birthday and a witch was involved.
If any of you say that she exists one more time, I'm about to pull out a 13th Twilight on your ass.
This is so dumb.
It was impossible for humans during the story. We tried to deny it in all sorts of ways. But
well,
now,
there we go.
fuck.
Yeah.
I even ever. Fucking goddamn.
Yep.
Each crime, every single one would have been impossible for a human. It'd be impossible to carry out unless it was the witch Beatrice using all the power. Man, yeah, we got it. We got it.
The culprit was a witch. That point's perfectly clear.
Yeah, we got it.
Long live Beatrice.
Everyone believed. I'm so glad. Gods and witches might seem terrifying to people who are frightened of them, but I think they must be affectionate to those who believe and respect them.
This is worse than any conversation in the goddamn cafeteria in Danganronpa. I swear to God.
I think it's
Shane,
supposed to be uncomfortable.
Who was the person who wanted to drop Danganronpa? You put us here.
I think this is supposed to be uncomfortable, but I don't know.
It's not uncomfortable, it's just annoying.
It had game mechanics at least. I want to go back.
Well,
I think you're right.
I tried.
So this murder case game is finally over. Now's the time to pull ourselves together and try hard to solve the riddle of the epitaph, just like Beatrice said, right? I agree. Beatrice will definitely be happy.
Everyone ignored that letter during the story.
Even though it was thrust right in front of us, we almost completely ignored it. I kind of feel sorry for Beatrice-sama.
I fucking don't. Like, what?
I've got the epitaph written down right here. Let's all solve it. Let's all solve it.
This story probably went wrong ever since that time.
That may be so. Maybe we should have tried solving the epitaph riddle from the beginning, like Beatrice said. Well, it's a little late now. Even so, let's try solving it now and see if the witch forgives us. Let's go. Let's try to solve the riddle of the epitaph. It was something like, "Behold the sweet fish river running down my beloved hometown."
Maria put her notebook on the table and opened to the page where the epitaph was written. Everyone stared at it, getting really into it as they started guessing this and that about the riddle. Surrounded by the smell of black tea and freshly baked vanilla cookies, they spent the time comfortably and happily. Sorry, I messaged a friend of mine on Twitter, and I was talking about how I am not invested in any of these characters. I said I hope when Beatrice shows up it gets interesting. I'm gonna have to send this to you guys later, but it's the gif of Majin Buu from the Buu Saga when he's on the lookout and he's looking at the big hourglass.
Yeah.
Waiting to fight
I've seen
Gotenks.
I've seen that meme when
Yeah,
waiting for
and
when
it says-
UMINEKO gets good.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to explain that to Shane, but you
My
know, he
bad.
kind of took over my whole bit.
My bad.
So,
I was excited.
You know, would you like to tell my punchline too? Actually.
Wagaduki.
Yeah. No, but she sent that to me and said, "This is what you sound like."
Yeah, basically.
I was gonna say in all caps, "Not my fault. It's not good yet. Just got episode 1 ending, and I'm asleep." Hold on a second, you guys.
I
What?
was invested for a moment and then it lost me. at
No,
some
it was
point.
actually getting really good, and then they confirmed for us that Beatrice was real, but all the characters were still being idiots about it, and it just became not enjoyable. Like that's my take personally, is that I feel like this problem could have been circumvented if this game was choice based. Like why do I have to watch the characters be idiots to get the full story? Like I don't know, it just seems weird to like force an early ending and then be like, haha, go do it again. That seems like a troll. Oh, it's the third person narrator. I think it's been the whole time.
But Battler spoke in a way that cut through the conversation. His expression looked a little unhappy. What could he not like about all of this fun?
I've been listening to you guys for a while, but why did you all stop thinking? Why are you so sure that the witch was behind all this? Don't you realize something like that can exist?
With just those words, the happy atmosphere surrounding the party evaporated in an instant. George and Jessica and Shannon and Cannon and Maria, all of them stared blankly, wondering what in the world Battler was talking about. Even the foolish, arrogant Battler realized he hadn't chosen his words well. Because isn't it clear that these crimes are impossible for a human?
That's right. None of the cases would have been possible for a human.
That's true. After all, wasn't it full of things that humans couldn't explain?
I don't understand what you're saying, Battler-sama.
I'm the one who doesn't have a clue what you guys are talking about. Isn't it obvious that humans committed these crimes? There's no way something like a witch exists, right?
Then, what about when I was killed in the storehouse and something horrible was done to half my face? If the culprit was human, how could they have accomplished it?
That's... well, it's hard to imagine how they did something that awful. But that was the Rose Garden storehouse, right? I'm sure there were plenty of weird tools in there. Let's say they used some electrical tools like a grinder or an electric saw.
That's...
Then Battler, how do you explain Grandfather's disappearance from the study when it was a closed room? Even though the door was sealed, Grandfather just suddenly disappeared, right?
We talked about that during the story, too. It's not impossible that Grandfather used some trick to fool the receipt. It's also possible that he went out the window, fell down, and Aunt Natsuki locked the window from the inside. I think of a bunch of tricks you could use without relying on magic.
That makes sense, but...
In that case, Battler could had explained the way my parents were killed in the guest room. My dad got stabbed.
Yeah, stabbed with his cock out.
Naturally, the window is sealed too. How do you think a human could have killed my parents with my dad's cock out?
With my
Well.
dad's cock out.
We did have to leave that trick alone during the story. Anyway, there's at least a good chance the culprit had a key. It was possible to look in through the crack of the door that the chain allowed. I know this is a stretch, but it's possible some device was used through that crack. Like, maybe they stuck something through it? Well, even though a door chain is incredibly simple, it's a big factor in setting up a closed room. Still, there's probably some closed room trick they could have used. If you bought some closed room mystery novels from the bookstore, you could probably find some trick that'd fit perfectly. Anyway, can't think of one now, but I claim that there's nothing humans can't do if they try hard enough.
Isn't that argument horribly irrational? It's just ridiculous to claim that it's possible for a human to do something even though you can't explain how.
Nuh-uh, Aniki, look at this TikTok slideshow of the indomitable human spirit. Why is that ridiculous? Why did all of you stop thinking? Even something that looks impossible has to be doable. Doesn't it always work like that?
Battler, you need to get off r/no sleep.
Battler, you're the one being ridiculous. If you think a human could have done it, try explaining how. You can't, can you?
And you're okay with saying the culprit is a witch just because I can't explain it? With that argument, all the unsolved crimes in the world could be resolved by saying a witch is the culprit.
Battler, you're sidestepping the issue and you aren't explaining anything.
You're
saying
9!
A human couldn't have done it. Therefore, the culprit is something that isn't human. And that something is a witch. And yet you keep arbitrarily deciding that witches are impossible, even though you can't explain anything. It's almost like humanity was during the Dark Ages. Like those fools
Somebody
who
get
claimed
her
the
a fucking
heavens
poppet!
spun around the earth. Those who said that the earth couldn't be spinning even though they couldn't explain why.
That That kind of argument kind of pisses me off. So this is basically what you're trying to say. If I can't explain how a human could do it, then I must accept that the culprit is a witch?
I want to frisbee a full fucking iPad at Maria's head.
Yeah, put on some
Watch
Cocomelon. You
watch
gotta
Cocomelon.
get her normalized. Her brain's too
Be
active.
a normal kid and be brain rotted.
It's
Have
not
some
like we're forcing
meth.
you to go that far. We were just wondering on what basis you can say such nonsense.
Nonsense? Hey, have I really been saying something that weird just now? Am I the one who's crazy? You guys are really starting to freak me out.
Battler-sama, when I died in the boiler room, I was killed by a 19th person who shouldn't exist. Can you explain how a human could have done that? At that time, the locations of the 18 were well known. Even so, I was killed.
We talked about that in the story as well, right? Kumasawa Bachan, for example. She said she followed right after you and headed down to the boiler room, but we can't know for sure whether that was a lie or not. For all we know, she might have entered the boiler room with you and caught you by surprise. Or maybe, when you stepped into the boiler room, you activated some kind of trap, and that might have been set up to hit you with one of those ice picks. After all, the stink of Grandfather's body was coming from the incinerator. Someone was bound to go and check, so if the culprit just set up a trap beforehand, they could have easily stayed away from the place, and used the time of Canon-kun's death to create an alibi.
You talk about a trap in the boiler room, but what kind of trap could that be?
That's right. Following his death, everyone immediately ran over to the boiler room.
Battler, you just killed our vibe. That's wiggity whack, yo.
Vibe killer, vibe killer.
But we didn't find any kind of weird device, did we?
That is correct. Battler-sama, what kind of trap could I have been killed with?
Well, I don't know that. But anyway, they must have used some kind of clever trap. Or maybe someone's lying. Or what about this? Canon-kun, what if the whole thing was just you play acting? That's it, you were play acting! And Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi were also play acting. They made the closed room themselves and were only pretending to be dead.
Battler, has your head been, feeling okay?
Should I bring some cold drinks?
Don't look at me with those pitying eyes. I'm not saying something that crazy, right? I'm just pointing out some possibilities you might find if you think of it all as a trick. Look, isn't it a pretty classic trick in mystery stories to have one of the victims just be playing dead?
Oh god, my bad.
A classic trick?
In other words, when Canon-kun was killed, we knew for sure where all the rest of us were. And let's assume that Kumasawa Bachan wasn't lying. But that's only counting the survivors. What if the culprit pretended to be dead and joined a group of real victims so we lose track of them, and then acted on their own later? Something.
I didn't even click anything.
Liar, you clicked.
No, I didn't! I was stimming! I was stimming, I didn't even touch the mouse!
Everything will be explained.
Huh? So, are you trying to say that Aunt Ava or one of the others was a culprit? But didn't Dr. Nanjo confirm all their deaths as a doctor?
That's right. Dr. Nanjo checked all of the victims. Battler-sama, for your theory to work, wouldn't Dr. Nanjo have to be one of the culprits too?
Yeah, that's right. Once you consider that Dr. Nanjo might have been one of the culprits and faked the proclamation of death, the whole story changes. See, that's also a classic trick in mystery novels, isn't it?
But Dr. Nanjo was also killed, right?
About that. That's right, Dr. Nanjo faked his death. After all, there wasn't anyone except Dr. Nanjo who could examine corpses properly, and everyone was really confused then anyway. We didn't have any spare time to check and see if he still had a pulse. With this theory, any one of the dead people could have been walking around.
I think it would have been hard for the 6 of us who died in the beginning to do that. After all, the shutter was closed, and there was a padlock that couldn't have been opened from the inside.
That's right. Mom was holding onto that key. So Mom was one of the culprits too?
Wait a sec. Maybe it was impossible for the first 6, but in the case of Aniki's parents, the door was only locked on the outside. So they could have opened it from the inside. That's right. After we left the room, maybe they jumped out the window and got to the boiler room first. Is that too much of a stretch? Or maybe Dr. Nanjo made a mistake when examining the corpses. Look, he said it himself, right? He said there's a very high probability of making a mistake when examining corpses. If you disguised it well enough or prepared a substitute body, you could fake your own death. Let's leave the method or trick they used for later. And you see, it's not that hard to deny a 19th person existed, right? Much less a witch, right? At least that much is completely impossible.
I don't know why you've been trying so stubbornly to say that one of us is the culprit. In other words, you want to suspect one of your relatives?
That's not it. It's just, I can't easily accept that a 19th person existed. And even if one did, I think we should construct our argument from the point of view that the culprit was a human. I'll only accept that it's a witch in desperation. At the very end, after everything else has been disproved. There's no way witches exist, right? Why has everyone been casually accepting that the culprit was a witch? I think it's great how your family love makes you hate the thought that someone close to you is a murderer. But is it okay to let that fool you? Don't you want to find the detestable culprit who killed so many people? Hanaki, don't you want to avenge your parents? Jessica, don't you want to avenge Canon-kun? And Canon-kun, don't you want to avenge Shannon-chan? Shannon-chan, you should at least want to know who it was that killed you. Why has everyone totally surrendered and decided the culprit's a witch? What's wrong with all of you?
The foolish and short-tempered battler tried to force his ignorance on the others and yelled at them. However, everyone just looked at him pityingly, silently watching over him. At that time, the wise Maria laughed and pointed out Battler's mistake.
I'm shocked. All I see is you repeating this nonsense, thinking you figured something out, Battler. So, what's next? How would a human do it? In practical terms, I mean. I imagine you'll say, I just can't think of anything now, or with some kind of device, using abstract words to run away and evade the topic. What I really want to know, Battler, is this. Why don't you believe in Beatrice? She exists, so why don't you believe?
Because she doesn't exist. Witches don't exist. There's no way.
It's just, okay, I
Yeah.
assume it was almost like a spoiled child who doesn't want to accept something. The pitying gazes closed in around Battler, but they didn't reach his stubborn heart.
You realize that you're acting just like a spoiled brat throwing a tantrum, right?
Battler-sama, I understand your feelings, but
Beatrice does exist.
Battler-kun, why don't you believe? Even though there's so much proof.
I don't accept the argument that the witch must have been behind everything just because I can't explain it. Does this mean that if you don't know how a light bulb shines, then magic is the cause? That's wrong, isn't it? There's nothing that can't be explained without magic. All of this about witches and magic is just abdication?
Yeah.
What's it?
Yeah,
Hold
you
on,
got it,
chat,
you got it.
new word.
Abdication of thought.
Looking up the word. What's the new word,
I think
chat?
that
What does it
means,
mean?
like surrendering thought, like throwing away logic.
Failure to fulfill a responsibility or duty.
Yeah.
I thought it was like when you shit your guts out and die.
Nah, he's
Real.
saying they're abandoning rational thought because
Yeah.
they can't come up with an answer.
Yeah.
You just surrendered and gave up because you don't understand what happened. Isn't that right?
well, unsurprisingly, it looks like you alone will believe no matter what, Battler. Even if a single person doesn't believe, the miracle won't occur. So, if you don't rethink your ignorant theories, the magic won't be completed.
Now I see. I finally figured it out. So in other words, you guys are trying to force me to say the witch exists, right? A lie that everyone accepts becomes the truth. Is that what this is all about? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I keep going on about this, but what you're doing is all useless. I refuse. You guys are all pressing me, and that's why it's all useless.
Why?
Sorry, but why don't you let me spin the chessboard around one last time?
Yeah!
If you want to force me to accept that there's a witch, there's a really easy way. And it's
Beatrice
not the
shows up, and it's Tim Curry.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
what the fuck, dude?
Shows up,
not
and it's
the
Tim
end.
Curry. Just, oh.
Why don't you stay for the night?
Yeah,
Stay
right.
for the night.
And then they, do they get nasty? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they freak. They
That's gross,
freak!
dude. They freak their freak out?
Yeah.
They freak on.
She matches his freak.
Wow. And it's not the indirect way of saying it must be a witch because humans couldn't have done it. All you have to do now is show me a witch doing it with magic. Furthermore, what Maria said earlier is what'll really dig her grave. You said that if even one person doesn't believe, a miracle won't occur. But real miracles happen whether people believe in them or not. Even if I... So any miracles are magic, or witches that exist, only because I believe in them, are downright lies.
I believe.
Our God is an awesome God, you bitch!
The uneasy mood following Battler's ignorant rant about other cultures on Twitter was blown away by a very soft and light laugh. Whose laugh? Battler was surprised. He had never heard that voice before. When he looked at George and Jessica, at Shannon and Cannon,
my God, is she
Maria,
finally gonna
he
be on
noticed they had
screen?
suddenly gone respectfully silent. Are we gonna get a Sprite? Oh yeah, I can fucking picture.
Finally?
Beatrice,
I've been fucking waiting.
God.
how amusing. I haven't met such a charming human for quite some time.
Who are you?
Don't you even know the host of the tea party you were invited to? How amusing, indeed.
This is Beatrice Sama, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years.
It is an honor to be graced with your presence, Beatrice-sama.
Please forgive Battler-kun's ranting.
This guy's just stubborn and, he still doesn't understand the situation he's in.
Hit her with a brick, Battler. Do something stupid. Dogs for gang signs.
What a treat this is. Most witches get tired of living after the first 1,000 years. How nice it is to meet a man with backbone such as yourself every once in a while.
Battler throws up West Side and pulls out the brick.
Dude, I knew she was gonna want him, by the way. I knew it.
It is quite an honor to be present when Beatrice shows herself, Battler.
How astonishing! Are you really that desperate to make me believe that a witch... that a 19th person is the culprit? This is starting to get interesting. And it's all useless. You must be the illusion that Maria and the others call the witch, Beatrice. And you'll only be allowed to exist if everyone believes it. You have that kind of a half-existence, right? That's why you want to make me believe, too. You can't exist because I alone don't believe in you. Isn't that right?
Your powers of comprehension aren't bad for a mere commoner who knows nothing of magic. Yes, it seems you were born with a strong magic-resisting power. You're a natural enemy of us witches. No matter how much we turn your world upside down, you never believe in us. Therefore, the magic won't succeed. I accept that attitude of yours.
I've got no clue what you're saying. It's very kind of you to go through all the trouble of showing yourself to us, but I don't believe you exist in the slightest. It's true that many strange things happened during those 2 days. Like Maria said earlier, even though I think all the tricks could be explained, I still can't lay out the practical details of each one. However, that doesn't mean I'll surrender. I'm different from the rest of them, got it? I'll never accept that it was the work of a witch just because I can't explain it.
This keeps getting more amusing. Making you surrender will be worth my while. You're just the kind of man I like to force into praising my name. I love to try making a man like you kiss my toes.
What? If you want to talk nonsense, talk all you want. I deny you exist. All of the events can be explained with human tricks. There's no room for even a speck of magic or witches.
Wonderful! What a perfect way to divert oneself from 1,000 years of boredom. Then let me ask you. A short while ago, you said that using the crack in the door would be sufficient to kill Ava and Hideyoshi, right? Explain how they could have been killed using some human trick.
Suddenly jumping right into the toughest part, aren't you? Does that mean this is the trick you're proudest of, Miss Real Culprit?
With a shake of a golden pipe, gentle, multicolored smoke trailed out of the air. Smoke quickly obscured their surroundings, and they were suddenly in the hallway of the mansion. Oh my god. The door in front of them, slightly open but secured by the chain, was... That's right. It's the door to the room where Ava and Hideyoshi were killed.
Nice trick.
Very well. Show me what you would do through this small crack, battler.
They probably had some device to shoot those ice picks. If they used that.
How would they reach Ava over on the bed when you can't see that far through this crack? And how would they reach Hideyoshi? In the bathroom with the door shut.
Damn. There's a crack. There should be some way.
If you can't think of one, allow me.
Oh. How would a witch do it? Come on, let's see your little trick.
Battler, you're being rude to Beatrice. How nice, how nice. What a charming man. That will make it even more fun to force him into submission.
Damn, she really wants him. You really want much? Only if I surrender.
Battler, you did not have to bring that specific thing
But he will
back
still,
up.
he's letting her know that he will still do it if he loses. But watch, I'll definitely expose this trick. I'll make you kiss my ass instead.
Nah, from this point on, it's gonna be a dominance battle. I'm gonna let you know.
What a delightful man. I'll remember that promise. Weak witches kiss the behinds of demons to gain power. Because there's no more humiliating oath. Just being
Well,
told
Chad, if
that
you're a
makes
weak
me...
witch, just eat some ass.
True.
Just being told that makes me want to force you to surrender.
How am I not a witch yet? God damn
I
it.
don't know.
You will.
This is bullshit.
You gotta eat some demon ass.
Yeah. Keep trying.
So sad.
Paying no mind to Battler's worthless ranting, Beatrice once again shook the golden pipe. That's right, that golden pipe was her precious magic cane.
Come, arise, children. I am the guide of purgatory. Forgive the deadly sins and hold the 7 stakes. Stakes, Father.
Guided by those magic words, which sounded like a command, several stakes gathered. They were the stakes of the 7 demons symbolizing the deadly sins of sinful people.
Beelzebub and Asmodeus, come, forgive the sins. Release the spirits of the sinners.
What?
The pigs of Beelzebub and Asmodeus responded to Beatrice's call. The 2 stakes of the demons were sucked into the crack of the door, like a billiard ball struck in by a cue stick. Then several scattered noises refracted to the wall, making a sound like a woodpecker. At the end, a pleasant sound could be heard. Ooh.
Pleasant.
Yes, pleasant. There's a small satisfying sound, like the one heard when something is chopping firewood, and the falling axe neatly and easily slices through the wood. There's the sound of the two picks burying themselves deep into Ava and Hideyoshi's foreheads.
Right down the middle. Want to see?
They definitely heard two sounds like a pair of foreheads being split open. Battler wasn't permitted to see it since he was on the other side of the door. But those two had died again, and the second time, they lay an inch apart from where they had lain last time, with the exact same blood spray as before.
You moron. That's insane! You think you can just kill them like that?
I can kill them. I can kill them just like this.
Suddenly, they were no longer in the hall, but seated at the tea party they had started from. Everyone but Battler was sitting meekly, but Cannon was moaning, fresh blood dangling from his mouth. What a rude thing to do at a tea party. Satan's stake was buried deep in Cannon's chest.
Cannon-kun! Damn it!
Battler was the only one getting agitated. George, Jessica, Shannon, everyone else meekly hanging their head like students being yelled at by their teacher.
Cannon was captivated by a trifling anger and tried to disturb my banquet. Being easily captivated by anger is your deadly sin. Cleanse yourself, repent, and do it over. Beatrice-sama, please forgive him. I think Cannon-kun has repented enough. Wonderful. I am generous to those who respect me.
Don't screw with me! Do you think I'll accept your existence because of this cheap act? Like hell you're a 1,000-year-old witch! Your tricks aren't 1,000 years old. They're just the sum of a century of classic tricks from the mystery genre. There's no such thing as magic. Definitely not! All of the crimes can be explained with human tricks!
You would explain my 1,000 years with 100 years of humans. My 1,000 fuck. Good, good. That's why I like you. Foolish battler.
Cut it out, Battler-kun. You can't go against the witch. Shannon started moaning, holding her cheek. Maybe she had a toothache. But apparently it wasn't a toothache after all.
Uh-oh.
Slight redness spread across the cheek Shannon was holding. It looked like that redness was causing Shannon unbearable pain. As her fingers were pressing in against her cheek, and drops of sweat appeared all over her body. Shannon! Shannon! Hang in there! Hang in there!
What's going on? Damn it, what the hell is that red stuff?
It expanded rapidly, covering half of Shannon's face. Then, stupid dunce Battler finally realized. Please, Battler-kun, please believe in Beatrice, I beg you. Because you don't believe. Because you won't believe. The magic is dissolving. For the first time in his life, Battler heard that sound, like a pomegranate splitting. The red spray landed on Battler's face. Poor Shannon's face had been split in half, and her last horrible moments in that storehouse were repeated once again. Shannon! Shannon!
Damn it! Stop it! Stop it! Don't humiliate the dead!
This time, the redness spread across George's entire body. It was like the beautiful cloud drawn Drawn by milk when it's poured into black tea. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
That makes
cloud.
sense. It spread out and extended across his entire body. As it did, it seemed to give George increasingly greater pain. Looking at this bizarre spectacle, Battler was petrified as he frantically thought with his pitiful, clumsy imagination about the nature of this strange death George and the rest were experiencing. Eventually, that redness reached the nearby Jessica as well.
Stop it! Stop it! What did Haniki do? What did Jessica do? Just stop it!
Don't let the witch break your spirit. Deny her. Erase her. As long as at least one person denies her, she's an illusion that can't exist.
Are you okay, Jessica? Haniki!
George was no longer recognizable as human. Hold on, I just had a thought.
Yeah?
So I wonder if the rest of this now is going to be Battler committing the murders himself
Well,
in order to prove that it could have been done by something other than supernatural means.
Well, I'm curious, right? Because, like, she's obviously fucking with them in purgatory after they died.
Yeah.
But, I am just not sure if, like, when we go around again, if any of them, Battler included, will actually be cognizant. Because I'm predicting that it's going to start out normal, and then there will be some kind of, like, divine intervention in his mind, and then he'll do something differently. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen.
Perhaps. I just hope we don't have to go through a bunch of shit all over again.
I guess that's what the skip button is for.
George was no longer recognizable as human. He looked like the pile of leftover meat after the good, delicious meat had been scraped off to be cooked. The only thing that even resembled as a human was the shape of his lower jaw and rib cage. It was clear that Jessica, who was covered with a steadily strengthening redness, was approaching the same fate.
Battler, quickly believe in Beatrice! If you don't, everyone's magic will dissolve!
Maria, it's all over your body, too!
I revive all the dead with my magic. But as long as you don't believe, that magic will hold no true power. But I'm sure that a man like yourself won't surrender to something like this, right?
Battler, we didn't want to doubt our friends. We refused to face reality. He gave in to the witch. But Battler,
Wait,
you
if his
won't
non-belief...
won't
I'm sorry.
give it to the witch.
Confused.
He's like, Jessica, no, Jessica, don't die.
Poor Jessica met the same end. But my question... Okay, so
do
he
you
didn't
thinking?
believe the whole time, so why was her magic effective in the first place? When she was weaker? Like, why... Wouldn't that
Well,
just...
that's kind of what he's saying, is that there's no proof that magic is what killed them.
Okay,
'Cause,
so
like,
I guess...
I think what she's saying is that, like, magic only works if they believe it will. I think is what she's saying.
Gosh.
But I mean, I don't know. I guess the whole point is that we don't for sure know, right?
Yeah, but the round of first people who died included people who didn't believe.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. Poor Jessica met the same end. Just like George, she ended up a butcher's leftovers. George and Jessica were now so destroyed, melted and mixed up, it was impossible to tell them apart.
Battler, don't cry. Beatrice will restore the dead over and over. So there's nothing to be sad about. So, even if we die, we're still just fine.
The redness began eating into the whole of Maria's body. The foolish Battler watched and screamed.
Damn, the narrator really hates Battler.
I'm just reading what the thing says.
I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you! A witch. magic. I'll risk my body and soul to deny you. No matter what happens, I can't accept you. Now that you've gone so far to piss me off, I'll never forgive you. I won't forgive. I definitely won't forgive you. You'll regret making me, Ushinomiya Battler, your enemy. I'll deny you no matter what. No matter how baffling things get, it can all be explained by humans. I'll erase every cell of you from this world.
Well said. Battler, was it? That's just a thing to divert me from my 1,000 years of boredom. Come, explain. Try explaining it all with human tricks. And learn how lowly humans are. Let's see if what humanity has built up in 100 years can oppose my 1,000 years. That's what will make forcing you to submit so pleasant. So tell me, you who call yourself Battler, what about Maria's letter? How the 6 were killed? The shutter? The receipts sealed? The closed room with the chain? Cannon in the boiler room? Genji and the others in the lounge? Natsuhi's suicide? The riddle of the epitaph? The location of the hidden gold? Yes, Battler. Why don't you show me the power of humans?
He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you."
Hooray!
Oh
Yeah,
my
purgatory.
God,
We're
what is
in
this
purgatory.
fun? What?
Oh, look at those credits. Yeah, look at those credits. Yeah, look at those credits.
This is totally how you format things. It's not upsetting me
Look at
at
those
all.
credits. Yeah, look at those credits. Yeah, look at those credits.
Shiromiya.
Let's quickly gather the round table here and talk about this now. Because we're officially, that's everything related to episode 1, right?
What? Oh, okay, maybe? I know there's another part for chapter 2 onward, but I'm not sure about chapter 1. So we can only see.
What do you mean? You've played this.
I just don't remember if there's one for chapter 1 or not.
Bro, you played this like literal months before you were like, we should stream
You
this.
can't be surprised, man. You cannot be surprised.
I literally can, and I will.
Okay. Well, we just have to wait. Also, the music? Oh.
And this song's kind of whatever.
Okay. Well, the game shot you.
Nope, I lived.
Nah,
I
live.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, there is a thing. Well, I mean, it's your choice if you want to go through it or not. But there's a welcome to the tea party of those who are not human.
I'm very hot, and I'd like a shower because I think I know what this is. This is probably going to introduce more characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk for a second
Can I see?
because I want to see how I guess mainly Shane, right? Because he's the one with no experience like me. But I don't know, dude. How do you feel about the first episode? Now that we know that it's gonna be like a time loop sort of situation.
If it goes the way I think it is, I think it would be interesting if now Battler has to commit all the murders himself in order to prove that it could be done by a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know what's gonna be different.
I'm down. Now that it's suggesting that, I'm down to give it a shot, but I'm unsatisfied with the first chapter.
Unfortunately, I am as well. Because kind of like I said, the story was picking up and getting really interesting, and the mystery of Beatrice was kind of cool, but then the game confirmed to us, but not the characters, that she's real. So I feel like from that point forward, it became a little hard to stay invested. Because it's like, okay, they're talking about the same shit they've been talking about the whole time.
Stagnated after that, yeah.
Yeah, right? Because they keep talking about all the same stuff over and over, but now we are no longer in the mystery with them. And just me personally watching them struggle is not that entertaining when I really don't like any of them to begin with. But I don't know, maybe there'll be more stuff in the next go around that will make some of the characters more sympathetic. Because, like, dude, I'm sorry, when all the adults got offed right at the beginning, like, good riddance, dog. Like, you're all just shitty people, so, like, I don't really care.
I mean, with my experiences with the game, because I did play all of the first part. Yeah. Episode 1 was the one that took me the longest to go through because it was the one that I was least interested in until the end, like you guys were. But it would really be a shame if you guys missed out on what else the story has to offer. That's all I gotta say.
I will give it a shot. I just hope it is actually more.
I mean, yeah, I'm obviously gonna be there to try it. It's kind of sunk cost fallacy at this point. All I'm saying is that when I think something isn't good, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
So if I think it's shite, I'm gonna simply say so and move on. But I don't think it's nothing's been like super bad. I was just like, I was hoping for that hook the whole time throughout episode 1, and it just never came.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, because what was that, like almost 10 hours? That's a long time to not hook your reader.
Mm-hmm.
Because so far the only characters I care about are Battler, the other 2 kids. I don't even give a fuck about Maria, really. She's pretty annoying. And I mean, Beatrice is at least entertaining. But other than that, like, they can all die again. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, I do like the question that they're posing at the very least. Like, the theming is on point, because I get what they're getting at, you know, where it's like, Battler is the kind of person who, you know, he is very firmly in the camp of belief is a choice.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's because I know a lot of VNs are around psychological stuff. I wonder if it's like a tulpa thing. Do you know what tulpas are?
I don't.
A tulpa is a it comes from a lot of cultures, but it's the belief that you can it's basically based on like relativity and thought and perception and stuff like that you can basically create something by thinking it. So it's the idea that all these urban legends and stuff exist because of like energy and emotional energy from people.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if it's that kind of psychological horror thing.
Maybe.
Because if you've seen Greylock, which is another YouTube horror thing, I'm into a lot of that stuff. It's a similar thing where they were forcing children with imaginations to try and create things that the government could use for like offense and defense, and that was the whole thing of that. So I'm wondering if this is a thing of where this annual thing and the delusions of the grandfather became so embedded in the family culture that it just actually became real. If it's that sort of a thing, like it's like the
right, like through their shared belief in it, it was then brought into reality.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also wondering, like, babe, do you know if like are the tea parties canon? Like, do those really happen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then that means we as the audience can be doubly sure that Beatrice is actually real. But they're saying at least,
or at least is being thought up enough to materialize in that moment.
Yeah, because that's kind of where I'm going, right? Is that like, unless, you know, everybody who knows about the myth believes in her, then she can't exist in the physical world. She can only be the butterflies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously other people like Maria can still be aware of her, and she can still influence things.
That would also make sense of her always appearing out of blackness with butterflies first appearing, because it always first appears to people who are like sort of at their last resort. Like it first appears there to Canon when we see it. He's looking in this dark corner. It's the only place he can't see in this room, so that must be where the thing is, and thus the thing is there.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, because what initially was bothering me was that after Beatrice was confirmed, I was like, the story has like nowhere to go, like besides like, okay, how do they survive? Like what else is gonna happen? What's the point? Now the story has been framed as a battle of wits between Beatrice and Battler, because like I said, they're pushing the theme of like, you know, Battler is the kind of person that holds in his heart that belief is a choice. That's why he says like, you know, you can't make me believe something if I don't want to. But all the people around him say that that's ignorant, because if there is no, like, easy to find explanation, then they're saying it makes more sense to believe in something they thought wasn't possible. So
Bree,
it's kinda
can we
that-
stream be forcing you to watch Greylock? Because it's good horror.
I mean, I'll be scared shitless, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what you deserve after making me go through this.
Hey,
That's crazy.
you
It wasn't
agreed
that
to
bad. It wasn't that bad.
Hey, you agreed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't deserve nothing.
Well,
I
that's
don't
what you
deserve
think.
nothing.
I'm butthurt, so fuck you.
Yeah,
Well-
he's super butthurt, actually. I thought I would be more butthurt than he is, but...
Well, all I can say is that the rest of the game is good, in my opinion. So,
Yeah. What is this, another Steven universe?
okay,
mean-
fuck you for that one.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that shit is not good. Sorry.
Okay,
But-
yeah, fuck you both for that one. My taste is not shit.
I mean, I still have faith. You know, I'm trying to be optimistic because I know this game is very, very critically acclaimed.
It is.
So I'm willing to give it a shot for that. But
I'm gonna
critical
give you
acclaim
shit, but
doesn't
I'll
always
give
mean
it a
correct.
shot. But I
Good.
will give you shit.
Because I think episode 2, well, I think episode 2 is one of my faves. So,
Well, can you at least like? I have like 1 or 2 spoiler-free questions that I would like to ask you, if that's
Okay.
okay for posterity.
okay.
When we start episode 2,
Uh-huh.
is it going to be literally the same situation but slightly different stuff happens?
It'll. The one
Like,
thing
is it going
I-
to start from the beginning again?
Yes, but no. The one thing I really like about UMINEKO is that yes, we're in purgatory. Yes, it's a time loop, but every single episode is a different character study on someone. So
Well,
things.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you, but because look, this is where you make me get super autistic, because I asked you a yes or no question. The first thing you said was yes and no.
So it doesn't
So-
start off from like. It isn't the exact same as in episode 1. Like, we just don't start over from the very beginning and we read all the stuff that we already read, and some itty-bitty things are different that we have to skip through.
Because are you saying that the characters have been in purgatory the whole time and
No.
they're just reliving these events over and over?
No, this is the first time we learn of purgatory. So this is the first time we're in it.
So so it's gonna be the characters now hovering above the events with Beatrice as they like rewatch them.
It's only Battler.
Okay.
So Battler is the only person aware
Yes.
that everyone is already dead.
Yes.
Okay.
They make this connection, but think of Rokenjima as a game board. Basically, it's a game between, you know, like you were saying, a battle of wits, a battle between Battler and Beatrice from this point forward.
Yeah. So you're saying that like Beatrice with the magic is like allowing him to go back in time, essentially?
Yeah, because she's, you know,
Yeah, because that's I'm assuming that's what she meant when she was like, you know, prove it. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if that was supposed to be like
I mean-
super literal, like I'm gonna put you back there.
they'll probably explain it in the question
Yeah.
mark thing, but yeah.
Well, yeah, because I know there are some other characters in this game that we didn't see the whole time, so I'm assuming they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna show up in there because they're other witches probably. But okay, then that makes more sense. Yeah, because like I said, that they made it seem that way. Like from this point onward, it's not really about the mystery, and it's more about like, you know, Battler and Beatrice having their little ideological warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay, I mean, yeah, because that was mainly what I was concerned about, because I was like, if they're just gonna like start us from the very beginning and then randomly like Battler will choose to do different things now that he's aware, like I was like, you might as well just let us make the choice at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but it's Beatrice will do stuff different. Battler's gonna do stuff. It's like it's a game. So every
Yeah,
single
right,
time will
because
be
she's saying like, you know, we're gonna do all this shit again,
Yeah.
try and win this time,
yeah, basically,
because she's bored and she doesn't care.
yeah.
Battler and the Tea
Um,
Party just reminds me of when my parents forced my atheist friend to go with us to church.
Oh yeah.
Oh God!
No,
is it
dude, he's
us?
literally like the opposite of that though, because he's like the one based atheist among a sea of people who are like magic and spiritual bullshit is real. So he's like the atheist redditor.
Well, no, that was just like I told because I knew the way my friend was. I told my parents, don't make him go to church with us. And he was just like loudly objecting to everything in the middle of church. It's like I didn't care what
Oh,
he believed
God.
at the time.
No, yeah, he's just being
It's
that
just
guy
that-
about it.
It's just I knew he would, and we could just not take him.
No, I get it, because he's totally doing that thing of like, you guys have to know that I disagree with you, and I have to make sure that I make my point. You know?
It was funny because after all that happened, like we all left, and my mom, like after we took home, my mom was yelling, "Why didn't you tell me it was like that?" And my dad was like, "He did."
Yeah, it's all so real.
My dad was like,
Okay.
"He did." We.
Well, I guess my only other question
And he
is
bought
like,
me McDonald's.
is episode 2 still gonna be from the perspective of Battler, or is it gonna be somebody else?
It's ooh.
Are we getting
It-
mixed perspectives?
I think, because I remember episode 2
'Cause,
is kind of fuzzy for me, but I do remember it changing perspective.
Well, because it changed perspective in this one too. I'm more so
Yeah.
saying like in episode 2, because you said every episode is a character study on somebody different.
Uh-huh.
Is episode 2 gonna have like a different main character?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Like, Batter will still be, like, you know, the guy in the game, right? But, you know, like Natsuhi, who was kind of the second main focus aside from Battler, someone
Yeah,
else would
because
be
she
in the
got a
spotlight.
good amount of her own scenes where it was her
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's what you're saying. Every episode is gonna be like Battler plus another person.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that sounds interesting at least. I just want to see like how some of this stuff is contextualized, because that's a big thing for me in stories, is that like you know, like logistically, like how is this happening with Beatrice like doing all her
Right.
magic and shit. But yeah,
Right.
she's literally just gonna send him back in time and be like, all right, we're doing it again.
I guess it's just next time on Total Drama
Basically.
Island.
Well, I mean, like, you know, we're still in purgatory, so it's not like he's like, this isn't...
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's saying like from like while watching from Purgatory,
Yeah.
if he can explain
Yeah.
you know, how this would have happened,
Yeah.
then she will declare him the winner and bring everyone back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody is canonically already
Yes,
dead, but he's
everyone-
trying to save them.
Yep, everyone is canonically dead. The first time was the real time.
Yeah, right. So now they're both in purgatory, and she like challenged him to a game to see if he can save them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I just I don't know. We'll see next time, I guess.
Yeah. Shane, how you feeling?
Next
Okay.
time, good.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. We hit the stream with like 10 viewers, so that's a lot for that's a lot for me. So that's really epic.
Beer.
Woo! Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next Saturday. The start of episode 2.
You want to raid somebody?
Yeah. I'm gonna go over to my ending screen, and then we're gonna find someone to raid. Silent the Streamer, thanks so much for joining the fam and following.
I glad you had fun.
Yeah, we'll see you next Saturday with
Next
episode
time.
2. Yeah. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna go find someone to raid, and then we'll go do that.
I shit myself.
Woohoo!
If you want a mindfuck story that's good, go read Euphoria.
Okay, goodbye. Goodbye.
Don't do that.